we're live again. Man, I tell you, the weeks just blow by, man. Seemed like I did this just yesterday. But no, it's been 7 days. Anyway, let's say hi to everybody. Hope you're all doing good today. And first off, who will get a heart-shaped pre-Valentine's Day cookie? It looks like Gerald got the cookie. All right, Gerald, good to see you here, and enjoy that cookie. And Train Man 1, Mickey, you got the half cookie. Congrats, man. Good to see you here, and, enjoy that half cookie. Unfortunately, Hot Dog Pilot Andy, he got the crumbs again. I'm so glad to see you here, Andy. So, enjoy those crumbs. And we have Thomas Trades. Thomas, good to see you here. And Thomas Grassy. Tom, good to see you. When Robin says, I won't be watching tonight. It's the start of the NASCAR season, but I'll still drop a like for you. I appreciate that. Lloyd, we'll see you next time, hopefully. And who else we got? GRE 2057. Good to see you here, GRE. And, we got Choverton Junction. Hey, Choverton, good to see you here, man. And Tom from Tom's Trains and Things. Good to see you, Tom. And that's everybody. All right, well, that's a start, right? So anyway, I've been a little busy this week. Actually got a few things accomplished. Not a whole lot, but something. Anyway, let's talk about this. Now, you guys probably, unless you're into model cars, you probably wouldn't be aware of this, but since I'm doing both trains and cars now, I thought this would be really cool to implement. This here is called a shop card. This here is from Vinny, cousin Vinny, formerly, well, still technically, BNSF 6951. Well, he's also doing the pit stop scale model garage, and this is his shop card. Pretty cool. It's made like on cardstock. Pretty neat. He gave that to me with the last model I won from him. And hey, Joe Raider, Black Rock Central. Good to see you, Joe. So I decided, hey, wouldn't it be cool if us model railroaders had something like that? So this is what I came up with. And this is my shop card. Of course, this is for the trains. You've got Millennium County Railroad version 2.5. My email address on the top, and then, of course, my logo over here. And it was, something I put together pretty quick. I put it on cardstock. Actually made two of them. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we followed that same kind of tradition, model railroaders? I mean, hey, the model car guys can do it. Why can't we, right? So I think it'd be kind of cool if maybe, we started doing something like that. Y'all let me know what you think on that one. Let's see. Thomas says, Jim, the 3D printed road spike looks pretty nice. Yeah, I got your email. I guess you painted the white one. That's kind of cool. I'm glad you're happy with them. I wasn't, but shit happens. Anyway, so we got that out of the way now. Train-wise, I still haven't done too much. However, I did order some water slide decal paper, the clear this time, because I've got the white back, but it was all out of the clear. I got this a couple of days ago, and I'm going to be doing this right here is going to be the logo for this tanker car. So, probably the next couple of days I'll get that printed out and get a couple on there, and then get some other, road numbers and stuff like that on the car as well. At least I'm getting somewhere with it anyway, right? But I needed to get more decal paper. And this wasn't bad. This was $11 on eBay. There's 10 sheets, the Koala brand, which I like. You'd use this with the inkjet printer. So I thought, why not, right? Now, Tom Grassi, he went out and bought one of those crickets. Now, if you don't know what a cricket is, it's a cutting, well, it's kind of a printer, but it cuts instead of prints. And you can make vinyl decals and that sort of thing out of it. And he's going to be using it to paint it to make decals or templates. Not templates, what's the word? Oh, shit. Well, it's like a template. The paint, the logos on his, God damn, I can't talk today. To paint the logos on his containers, which is pretty thick, because we talked about it. I said, go two ways. You can either use the vinyl, because it's sticky, and make vinyl, logos, or you can make the, it's not templates, I can't think of another fucking word for it, but they're cutouts. You put it up against it and use your airbrush to spray it, pull it away, and you're good to go. Stencils, that's the word, Gerald. Thank you. Yeah, it's smart to do. So I don't know when I can afford to buy one, but I'm gonna try and get one at some point. Maybe the next 6 months. I don't know. Hey, Gigliotti, how you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, Tom. The word of the day is stencil on my containers. Everybody's a smart ass. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I keep wanting to say template, but it's not a template. It kind of is, but it's really a stencil. Anyway, so I'm looking at the same idea, because the decals are fine on some things, but your containers are ribbed, making it very difficult to get a decal, a water slide decal, to stick to it properly. And it would be so much easier if you just had a stencil that you could put up against it, shoot it, and you're done. And you can make different stencils to do different colors or different logo patterns, that sort of thing. So I thought pretty cool, And Joe says, Thomas, how much for the magnet markers? What magnet markers? You got me on that one. I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, but anyway, so I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And the machine's not that terribly expensive. I think I saw one for $99 somewhere around there. Of course, you got to buy the vinyl, and or you can use cardstock in it to make your stencils, and it just cuts out. Or you do it on the computer, hit go, and it does the whole thing in the printer. But it's really a cutter. Hey, Curly Express, Dwight, good to see you here, Dwight. Oh, Thomas says, you mean magic markers? Okay, whatever. Magnetic, magic, all the same, right? So, anyway, I thought it'd be a pretty good idea. And I've been wanting to get one of those for a long time anyway. But the one I was on was closer to 300. It's a little bit bigger, but as Tom rightly pointed out, how big of a stencil are you going to make? I mean, even if you put one, say, on a tanker car or a box car, you're looking at probably 3 to 4 inches. So the $99 cricket is actually way bigger than what you'd probably need. So that might be the way to go. I'll have to look into that. But hey, Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. Lee, how's it going? Good to see you here. Tom says, Jim, I'm making Joe markers So, oh yeah, okay. So you can see where the magnets are. Yeah. All right, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you and I talked about that earlier. They're markers for where his decoupler magnets are on his layout, which is smart, very smart thing to do because climbing under the table to figure out where they are is kind of a pain in the ass. Thomas Train says in May I'll be 31, but it's another day, another dollar. Okay, not quite sure what you're getting at with that, but that's fine. That's still a few months off, by the way. So that's what I've been doing with the train stuff anyway. And then I jumped over to cars because, I'm doing model cars too. And I've shown you some of the models I was previously working on. So I thought, I better get cracking. I'm not getting anything done around here. I mean, things being the way they are and all. But I need to. Hey, Dundas Junction Model Railroad, James. Good to see you here. Glad you made it. So I want to get something done on my Le Mans, the six-wheeler. So I wet sanded it, and of course, there was a lot of imperfections in the model itself, which I had to wet sand them out. I'm going to have to reprime this again. But I've got it's the body's relatively smooth. So I'm going to shoot another coat of primer on this, wet sand it one more time, and then it theoretically should be ready for paint. So hopefully that's how it's going to work out. And I still got to wet sand the 65 Malibu yet. I don't know when I'll get to that, but and I've got two other models I've got to build. And like I said, I'm just I did order a can of paint for the Le Mans, and it will probably do the Le Mans and the Malibu. It's a light blue metallic. That'll be here Saturday, I believe. And that's today. Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Hey, Andy. Did I say hi to you? Yeah, I think I did. You don't want to get the crumbs. Anything on the old sugar line? No, not really. 148 was running a couple of days ago, the steamer. I didn't get pictures, I didn't get any video of it because I didn't have any notice. Because usually by the time I hear it, it's already going by. So they're doing more tourist runs. I think there's a few more that are going to happen this month too. I wanted to get on there. I was going to do the ice cream train, me and the wife, but well, that's not going to happen now, probably. Well, I can't afford it. And, we kind of suck having to go by myself anyway. But, so that plan went south real quick. That's just the way it goes. Let's see, what else am I doing here? Damn it. I'm looking around here like, everything's in a state of total disarray, sort of. It's not too terribly bad, but I got a lot on my plate right now. I'm trying to clean out the guest house. My mother-in-law left a lot of stuff behind, and Monday I've got a thrift store coming to pick through it. They called me up yesterday. Said, well, we're probably not going to take everything. We're only going to take the good stuff. Because, we're not running a dumpster outfit. I'm going, well, I've been in your store. I beg to differ. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it, But they're probably going to take most of the stuff. There might be a couple of pieces they leave behind. They'll go in the trash. So I've got that going on. I'm trying to get my house squared away. That's too, Gerald. The train would cost half as much, but it's still more than I can afford. What was it going to be? It was $35 each person, and I really just $35 is a lot of money right now. I just can't do it, So, like I said, I gotta start looking at money seriously. I Actually, I'm holding on to my money fairly good this month, but next month it may be tighter. I don't know yet. I'm still waiting to see what the light bill is going to be. It should be a lot cheaper, but it may not be until, the month after. So I don't know, because we did use the heat quite a bit the second half of the month, January. So half the month, half of January and half of February constitutes 1 month. So I should be getting the new bill in probably any day now. It should theoretically be cheaper, but who knows? Now, the bill after that should be about half or less than half of what it's been. Guest house is shut down. Most of the big houses shut down. I turn on a light every now and then, and my computer, and that's all I'm using. I mean, other than the standard refrigerator and what have you, gas stove. So, I could cook two or three meals a day, and it doesn't affect the light bill any. So, and then even out here, I haven't even been out here as much as I'd like to be. And like today, I actually have the air on because it's fucking hot out here, man. It got up to 88 today. I don't get it. 1 minute you're freezing your ass off, the next minute you sweat. So I had to run the air in here. I spent a good part of the day here because the air in the house doesn't work temporarily until I get around to fixing that. If I'm even going to, I don't know yet. I'll probably have to do something. I mean, I have a portable air conditioner I could use in the living room or even in the bedroom, of course, come the worst. But for right now, it's not been too terrible in the house. And in the evenings, I could open up the front window and it's tolerable. So, yeah, and nope, still freezing my ass off. I know, it's fucking cold everywhere, but here. Florida's like the warmest state in the entire country right now. The North and the Midwest and even the West, they're all getting hammered, man. They're getting ice storms, blizzards, freezing ice, all kinds of shit, or freezing rain. All kinds of crap's going on. Even down as far as Texas in some areas. But here, fairly warm. Not that I would mind it being cold. I got the fireplace. I got a ton of firewood. So it's really not that big of a deal, if it did get cold. And I'm sure, well, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I don't know what the temperatures will be, but it should be a little cooler with the rain. That's the first real rain, if it happens, that we've had here in about a little over a month, I think. So, we'll see. Frank Steeler, Fan 820. Frank, how's it going? Good to see you here. Tom Grassi says, Jim, I finally got the truck working on the 3-dome tank car we worked it on Tinkercad. Printed 4 of them, weathered them, now onto the tank car. Cool. I'm glad that worked out for you, man. Dwight says it was 9 this morning. It's only 14 now. Yeah, that's fucking cold. Sorry, man. That's too damn cold for me. Gerald said you can keep it. Well, Gerald, you're down in Texas. What's your temperatures right now? They can't be all that fucking great. At least not according to the weather I'm showing anyway. Joe said shoveled 4 inches of snow yesterday. Today I didn't need a coat outside. I know, go figure it, right? They said that, hi, Gerald says 46 now. Not exactly a heat wave, I mean, for most of us. Well, for me anyway. But that's actually not that bad. So, I wouldn't mind it if it were 46 right now, actually. And he said, half an hour walking my mutt, my nose ran like a tap. I'll bet it did. And Frank says it's 28 where he's at. Okay. Tom says it's 36 now. It was 46 today. Yeah, it's still cold. Hey, Chasco, how's it going? Good to see you here. Right now, Orlando is 81. Well, it's 83 here. Springfield. I don't know why I keep saying Springfield. It's in Sebring. It's 83. So yeah, it's a little warm. I would actually prefer a little cooler weather, but you know, not crazy cold though. Gerald said it was 32 overnight. Yeah, that's fucking cold. Frank says 73 in the house though. Yeah, there you go. That's a little nippy, but not terrible, you know. So yeah. So yeah, the weather's been kind of screwy. I don't know what the hell's going on. Uh, there's another system's going through from the west coast all the way over to the east coast. Supposed to hit the next couple of days, I think. Florida won't see any of it, but everybody else will. It's a little strange, man, but you know, I guess realistically, Florida's the place to be right now. Frank says 73 nippy. I'm coming to your strip clubs. That's kind of funny. Well, here that would be a little nippy. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It was 73 here. I think last night around 10 o'clock at night, and it was actually nice. I mean, I enjoyed it. I said I had the front window open, and it came just enough here to bring the inside temperature in the house down to about 76. But if I walked outside, it was actually really nice out there. Lee says it's nice and warm in the hobby room with the heating on. Yeah, I'll bet. Gerald says the prediction is mid-20s overnight this weekend. Yeah, that's cold. All I can say is better you guys than me. Not that it would terribly, you know, it wouldn't bother me that much. So I got the fireplace, and you know, I think it's kind of cool to have, you know, a fire in the fireplace, burning logs, and you know, it's kind of rustic, I guess, in a way, right? That a good word, rustic. I haven't used that word in about 50 years. Sending you a box of dry ice. I just threw away I ordered more Omaha, you know, and the steak people, and it came with a block of dry ice, and I don't need it, so I chucked it. I think I got a couple of blocks though in the deep freezer. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to take inventory of what the hell's left in the house, what I can get rid of, and what I need to hang on to. So, you know, I'm making a list. I went to Walmart yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Oh, fuck, I don't remember, but we'll have 2 days. I had to get another cooking pot. The first one I bought was local. I bought it Winn-Dixie. Some of the bits are so small, can't hardly cook anything in it. So I had to get a bigger one. You know, I got a 5-quart. You can make some more. Yeah, you could. Hey, Ray, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. So I had to get that. I wanted another teapot because I drink a lot of cinnamon tea lately. Found it's really good for my blood sugar. So my blood sugar has been actually really good lately. I cut down on my insulin use and everything. I mean, you know, because I'm eating a little differently now because I got to cook for myself. So, you know, still eating well, but not overdoing it. So it's like bare minimum because I just don't want to waste all this time sitting down eating a fucking meal by myself. But, so I got that, and I had to get some flea medicine for Pogo. He's going nuts, you know, because he sleeps in the bed with me, always has. And he would just not sit still and go to sleep. He's scratching and jumping and scratching. That's it. Time to get you some flea meds, you know. I don't like using that shit, but it was absolutely necessary. I put it on him yesterday, and he sleeps peacefully now, so that's a good thing. So then, and then I did make a list. I kind of, just think of what I might need. Then I'm walking around today. I'm thinking, two things I should have bought when I was in Walmart. Brillo pads, because I don't have any. They're great for, cleaning the sink and whatever. And some dish towels. Don't have a single fucking dish towel in the house. So maybe I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'm not sure which. Probably Saturday. Back to Walmart, go pick up a couple of those things. They're relatively inexpensive, so not a big deal. Oh, plus I bought a new scale because the wife took hers with her, obviously, and I think I'm actually losing some weight. Actually, I did lose 2 pounds, so I'm hoping I can lose more weight. So I got to track it better, and then you need a scale for that. So $19 for a digital, which isn't bad. So I'm saying there's things I have to get. I'm still looking for a washing machine. I'm probably going to have to use the sink to wash my clothes in temporarily. I got a dryer, so drying's not an issue, just the whole washing part. That's why I said I could use some steel wool, Brillo, clean the sink out before I throw some of my clothes in there, because, it's not filthy, but it's not exactly spotless either, So, that's what it is. Frank says, Buddy's a truck driver. His sugar tested high. They pulled his medical card and told him to park the truck and leave it. Now stuck in the middle of PA and Hershey. Shitty trucking company. Oh, hell yeah. Well, couldn't he just, does he take insulin? I mean, he can get it right down. It's not a big deal, There's probably a law against that because, I think that falls under the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, sort of. It's a medical issue. There's not much you can do about it, Yeah, tomorrow's Friday, I know. Well, I did. I started making a list. And right now I've only got those two things on the list, Brillo and dish towels. Then I got to walk around the house and see if there's anything else I need because, Walmart's like 13 miles down the road. Traffic's been a bitch lately because right now we're technically in season, which really sucks. There's a lot of traffic I don't like dealing with. I like to zip and get in and out quick. I did fill up my tank though, and gas was 304. It's the lowest it's been in a while, so I'm hoping it'll get under 3 soon, but we'll see. But just a couple of days ago, it was 326. So you kind of got to jump on it when it goes down. Wait till it rains and keep changing clothes. Yeah, right. Just wear your clothes in the shower, then spin real fast to dry. Trying, like I said, I have a dryer. It's a fairly new one I bought last year, I think, or 2 years ago. So the dryer's not a problem. The thing is, our washer took a shit, and we didn't really have the extra money to just outright buy one. So Debbie went to one of them rental places. I can't remember what it's called, the rental center. And she rent to own one. So she just paid it off, I think like 2 months ago. Of course, she paid for it, so, technically it's hers. I mean, I don't know why, I asked her, why the hell did you take the washing? What the fuck are you going to do with it? I don't know. I think she did just, kind of out of spite probably, but so, it is what it is, but so now I gotta find one. So I got the word out that I'm looking for a used one. First I'd like to find an old GE top loader. Even if it breaks, I can fix it. They're real cheap. They're real inexpensive to repair. Not much goes wrong with them. They generally have about a 25-year lifespan. So if I could find one for, $50 or less, I'll grab it. I don't really want a new one because A, they're more money than they're worth. And they're all junk anyway. Hey, Todd Armstrong. How you doing, Todd? Good to see you. Jim, you're looking good, you old hound dog. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Although, I guess. I mean, look, weight's been a little tough the last couple of weeks, but it could be worse, right? Could be dead. Frank says you can only jump in a pool with your clothes on. Well, I don't have a pool. I don't know anybody around here who's got one either, so. And that would only take care of one pair of clothing, and I've got way more than that. I just wash them in the sink, no big deal. When I was a young man, before I got married, our washer and dryer both let go at the same time. And I used to wash my clothes in the bathtub, you know, fill it full of water, throw some detergent in there, wash them all up, hang them over the fucking curtain rack, and that was it. I mean, you do what you gotta do. It's not that big of a deal, right? So yeah, I gotta, once I get settled with all this stuff, and I should be okay. I don't need much anyway. That's a good thing. Like I said, just a few things here and there that I kind of wanted, probably more than I actually needed. But well, the pot I definitely needed. Uh, and so other than that, I'm doing good. I got tons of food. I got plenty of food. I just bought Omaha burgers and hot dogs. Plus, I have all my backup food, so I'm not even worried about that. But uh, it just kind of sucks doing shit yourself. There you go. drive the Tom's house, bring locos and lunch. I would never do that to Tom. Oh well, it's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't do that. I don't really like relying on other people, not unless I'm really, really desperate. I wish I could find somebody to put the starter in my truck. I still got to do that, but the problem I'm having is I need a jack to jack the bastard up, get it up on the ramps. Decent jack. At least I don't want to buy a used one because they're gonna be garbage anyway. I get a new one's $150, about the cheapest I've seen for anything with any lift on it, which I think is 18 inches. Which that I gotta get it up high enough to slide the ramps under it, for safety. Then I could slide under there and change out the starter. But you know, I wish there was somebody that could do it for me. I mean, if I had to, give them a few bucks, not a lot, but that would save me a lot of fucking aggravation. Giggle, so how do you get the chat to show up on the screen? Are you using a phone? If you're using a phone, I have no idea. If you're using a computer, it should be right beside the my picture. Frank says I do it, but too far. Send round trip tickets. I'll bring a jacket and check the luggage. Yeah. I don't think I can afford the ticket, man. Um, I looked at having a shop do it, and they're looking at between $400 and $500, and I'm thinking to change a fucking starter, literally 3 bolts holds it on, and 2 nuts for the main wire and the starter wire. I don't get it. How the fuck do they justify that kind of money? I mean, back in the day, when I was getting 40 an hour, I would probably charge $30 to change a starter because, I had air tools and stuff, zip, 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 it was done. And I didn't have a minimum 1 hour deal. I mean, anything under an hour, I would prorate. So, but even if it was $40, I would pay 40 to do it. Hell, I'd pay 50. What, 400? What the fuck? You know. Okay, I'll stay one-way ticket, but I'm not rubbing your back. I wouldn't let you anyway, right? Still can't afford it though. Too bad nobody. I mean, the only people I know close by is Tom, and he can't do it. You know. Um, and fuck, I'm at a loss of names again. Um, God damn, I can't remember his name. My friend that's down in the Everglades. What the hell is his fucking name? It'll come to me eventually, and he can't do it either. You know, he's as old as I am. I mean, we're a bunch of old farts. We can't deal with this shit anymore. You know. Thomas says Jimmy should look into 3D print stainless steel resin. I have no use for it, man. You know, no, I don't have the money for it either. I bought 6 bottles of white. It was a deal. It was like $57. Tom Grassi got 6 too. He bought his about 8 hours after I put my order in, and we both got them, and you know they're fine. It works great, and that's going to have to last me for a while. You know, I'm practically out of filament. Normally I buy my filament 5-6 rolls at a time. That's around 70-80 bucks. I don't know when I could do that again either. You know, if I rent out the guest house, I'm thinking I could get 700 a month out of it. A neighbor told me that a place that size, one room basically, and a bathroom and a kitchenette, they're going anywhere between $700 and $900 a month, and that don't include nothing. I include everything: electric, water, high-speed internet, you know, garbage pickup, the whole 9 yards. So if I could find an elderly person, maybe somebody even disabled, you know, preferably a woman, they're easier to deal with. Get someone like that in there to give me 700 a month. That's good for both of us. You know, I have a steady income coming in again, and that will help me tremendously. So a lot hangs on renting out that guest house. Otherwise, I'm going to be tough. It's going to be tight. Because right now, everything I wanted to do this year is on hold. You know, building onto the shed, you know, the secondary uh, out part of it, the expansion. That's not going to happen. Not with what I'm making now. I couldn't do it. It'd take me 5 years just to get the materials together. So that's on hold. I should be able to hopefully finish the second level maybe over the next 6 or 7 months. You know, if nothing changes. That's going to be slow too. And anything else I want to do some work in the house, but that's not going to happen either. You know, I'd love to tear it. I got this massive bathtub in the master bathroom. The room is huge. I mean, it's almost like a small bedroom, you know. But it's got this massive tub in there. It's fiberglass, so it wouldn't be hard to bust it up and get it out of there. But you could probably get 4 people in comfortably. I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. It's really huge. I can't get in and out of it. I'd bust my ass. Not happening. I use the shower in the second bedroom. So I'd like to rip that out and build a his and her shower in there. Which wouldn't take that much because all you'd have to do is, you know, probably replace the walls with the rock board, tile it. So I'd have to buy another tile machine, which, you know, you can get an expensive one now for $200-300. Put the fixtures in, pour concrete on the floor, tile that, and you're good to go, you know. And of course, the plumbing, whatever plumbing needs to be done. I've done this before. Even now, I could probably do it. It would take a while. But then I would get the most out of it, you know. And I could probably build it to where I wouldn't need to put doors on. I did one about a year before I had the stroke. And the guy, he put those glass blocks in. Well, you do half the shower in that. You walk in, and you don't need a curtain or anything because all the water stays inside. And the clear glass blocks, they weren't expensive. They were relatively inexpensive. Allows light to go in there and everything. It was really cool. I'd like to do something like that again. It would probably take me a year to do it, but the fuck else do I got to do, right? So that's one of the things I want to do in the house. At some point, I want to lose the air conditioner. I've got a big 4-ton unit in there, but it's 20 years old. I guess it's kind of reached its lifespan because it just constantly breaks down now. So one thing after another. I think the contactor's bad on the condenser outside right now because it's not kicking on. I can get a contactor for about 30, 40 bucks. Take 15 minutes to put it in. But then what? What happens after? What'll break next? So I'm thinking rather than do that, I'd rather shit can that whole unit. The inside unit's in the closet in the kitchen. Get rid of that motherfucker too. And put a couple of mini splits in. I saw a 2-unit mini split, a 2-head mini split for $2,000, which I could probably get it on time payments if I had to. That'll cover the master bathroom or master bedroom and the living room. And then later on I can get a single head unit, and they're cheaper, $600 for the back bedroom. And even if I ran them simultaneously, it would still be half the cost of running that 4-ton. I say I run the air conditioner in the house, man. My bill shoots up to $400, $450, $475. I haven't hit $500 yet, but come damn close. I can't afford that, Now, like I said, this mini split here, it don't cost shit to run. So that would be the smart move. And of course, I wouldn't run the one in the master bedroom except at night when I'm sleeping. And if I'm in the house, I'd run the one in the living room. Other than that, they'd probably both be off most of the time. Because like I said, until it starts getting real hot out, it's not really an issue. So I'm going to save money all the ways around. Let's see, I locked up on me here again. There we go. Chevy dealer wanted $1,000 to change the windshield washer pump. Part at O'Reilly's was $20. Yeah, exactly. They ain't shit to change it now. $1,000 for that. I had to put a washer pump in my Grand Marquis because it went bad. I think I got one on eBay for about, it was $18, brand new, aftermarket. Pop the tank out, pop the old one out, pop the new one in, plug in the wire, put it back in place, and boom, you're ready to rock and roll. It can't be much different than the Chevy you're talking about. So I'm saying, how do they justify that kind of money? It's ridiculous. James says in Canada you'd get $1,000 to $1,500 a month, right? Oh yeah, well, there are places here that you pay that much too. I mean, not in Sebring, but if you went down to Naples, $1,800 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. You want 2-bedroom, 2-bath? Now you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a month. It's just fucking outrageous. I mean, not that I wouldn't take the money if I could, but I got a different way of thinking too. I was getting 5 1/4 from my mother-in-law. All right. I wanted 6, but she really couldn't afford it, so I cut her a break, and she still fucked me over, right? But anyway, I figure if I ask for 7, or if, like I said, I'll read the person. If I find somebody that really looks like they're a good, responsible, tenant, maybe I'll give it to them for 6 or $6.50. I'd rather have them there for the rest of their lives, rather than try and bend them over. They really can't afford it. They're not going to stay there long, That's the way I've always done it in the past, and it's worked out well for me. Don't let greed get in the way of common sense. So it really just depends, you know. Why the hell would I do that? Some hot milk. Yeah, well, that's not likely, but you never know. No, I would never have an illegal here. Sorry, not happening. Jim needs a girlfriend. Yeah, I probably do, but come on, let's face it, man. At my age, with my questionable looks, it ain't gonna be easy. Hey, Chuck Schreiber, how you doing? Good to see you here. Um, it's kind of funny because uh, my mother-in-law's friend, former friend now, I guess, Anne Marie, she's in her 80s. She's been coming over here and helping out a little bit. There's nothing there. I mean, that'd be weird. But she helped sort through some of the shit. She took some of the food because the thrift shops won't take food. And I didn't want any of it. I said, just get it the hell out of here. And she's taking the plants and stuff that the thrift shop won't take. She knows other people that want them and she can, hand it off to some. But anyway, what the hell was my point? I forgot. Oh, yeah. So the first day that she came here to help me out, she goes, so where's your new girlfriend? And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? She says, don't you have a girl waiting in the wings? I says, why would you get that idea? I never cheated on my wife, and I wouldn't. I said, I certainly don't have any girlfriends on standby. She was like surprised. I'm going, I can't believe you would ask me that. The fuck? No, I didn't want to do her, sorry. Yeah, I've got no real issue with older women, but that's a little too old for me. Yeah. I like the 5-year rule. 5 years more, 5 years less. You stay within that. I mean, I once dated a woman who was 20 years older than me, but I was 36 at the time. 32. Well, she was 52, so I was in my 30s. That was fine for a while, but then, I did eventually realize that. It's one day I'm going to wake up, she's going to be really old and nasty, and I'm not going to be. And I'm thinking, that's just not going to work. I mean, maybe the women could do that shit, because you see these 20, 25-year-old women with a fucking 9-year-old guy, and you're thinking, well, he's either got a big wallet or a big dick or both, because there's no other reasonable reason for a woman that young to want to be with him. So, but I mean, I just don't see how that can actually work. All right, Lee, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Dwight says Jim is married, yes. Well, I'm still technically married. I haven't filed for divorce yet. We talked about it. She can't afford it. I can't afford it. So I guess for now we stay married. But well, when I was how old? I was 16. I was dating a 21-year-old. But I lied about my age because I had this. I looked a lot older than my actual years. So I started dating that woman, and she had a kid. But I didn't care. I mean, we had fun for a while. We were together for a little while. I think like not quite a year, but it just kind of went our own ways. But I've never had an issue with a woman being a little older than me. Um, shit, when I was 15, my girlfriend's mother, who was like 43 or 44, she was a fucking knockout, man. And I could have had her and didn't realize it at the time. I mean, I used to go over there when her daughter would go to sleep, and she'd have me hang out with her on the couch. You know, we'd make out a little bit, watching TV, usually some R-rated shit, you know. And I just didn't pick up on it. I was young. But yeah, I think I could have done her, man. No, I didn't have a gray beard back. It was all black, but I had a beard. I've had my beard since I was 13. You know, that's the Italian in me, I guess, but and the laziness, I didn't like shaving. Yeah, I wish I could, Dwight, but I don't know. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't try, you know. If she were open to it, I would, but you know, she's up in Michigan with her daughter and her grandkids, and apparently the mom went with her. So the whole fucking family's up there in Michigan freezing their asses off right now, by the way. Took all her shit, or most of her shit, with her. So the reality of her ever coming back here is pretty slim. I mean, it doesn't seem likely. Let's see. I used to be a lazy old man. I still am. I actually never was. But as I get older, I'm slowing down a little bit. Gigliotti says Italian. Well, of course you're Italian. I knew that. With a name like Gigliotti. I'm actually, well, mostly Italian, but I've got a little bit of Hungarian in me from my mother's side. But my mother's husband was Italian, or my mother's father was Italian. My mother's mother, my grandmother, she was Hungarian. That's where I get a little bit of Hungarian blood. Now, my dad's family, all Italian. So I really consider myself a full-blooded Italian. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I hope I take after my dad. He aged very well. He lived to be 91. And he didn't really start to look old till he got around 89. But at 89 years old, he looked like a 50-year-old man, you know? He wore his age beautifully. He was using that Grecian formula stuff, which I kind of knew about because he died with a full head of black hair, you know. That shit works, so I should probably start using it. I don't know. Thomas says the old Lyle Transformers are 150. Well, it depends which one you get. They got them real big motherfuckers, the twin-handled ones. I think those are even more than that. I don't know. I've got one here. I bought as a spare for Debbie's Lionel train set, which I still have, by the way. I paid 40 for that. It's a smaller one, but it's back from the early 60s, so, you know. Yeah, they are expensive. Well, of course, considering what they are, you know. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. James says he's a newfie. That was a newfie. Yeah, that's the ones I'm talking about, Gerald. The ones with the remember the Addams family, the one that the old man had. There's a train set in the one room, the twin handles on it. Fucking thing was like this big. Those are probably over $1,000, I imagine. Oh, Newfoundland, okay. So I'm waiting to find out that Canada became the 51st state. It could happen, except for Quebec. I don't think we're going to have nothing to do with Quebec because, you know, they're assholes. And they're all French. And they didn't want to learn fucking English. They wanted to stay French, and they fought the rest of Canada, so it's like, we don't need them anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. So I'd like to get my trains running again. They do actually run. It's just that I got everything all over the place. Maybe next week I'll have, maybe we'll do like we were doing before, where 10 or 15 minutes before I'll run the trains and be live, just for fun. Because there's no reason why I can't run them. I mean, everything's working. Last I looked, anyway. So I'll just have to get right on that. I just have to clean up everything, It's just, this whole room is a big fucking mess, in a way. I mean, I got the floor cleaned up. I got all the crap off the floor. But I kind of just moved it over to up top. So I got to put stuff away. I got to make room in my bottom shelves again, my drawers down there. And start reorganizing and build a couple of consists, put a couple of consists together for the layout, and get them suckers running again, So I'll be working on that real soon. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be ready to go next week. All right, Todd, well, thanks for popping in. We'll see you next time, and, have a good and safe weekend, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, which, leaves you wide open. Hey, Jim White. No, you're not getting shit, man. Maybe a kick in the ass. I got a 9 and 8, or actually it's a 10 now. I got a size 10 boot I can shove up your ass. That's about the only you'll be getting from me. I'm not giving up none of my damn trains. How I can't afford to buy new ones. But I gotta get these things. I'm gonna have to wind up replacing some of the trucks, because I've already got problems with the two ET44s anyway. They're not severe, but they're like at the very beginning stages. I'm getting a little bit of noise. I know the speed has dropped down a little bit. So I think I'm getting a lot of problems with the trucks again. So I'm going to wind up having to replace the trucks on it, and that's just the way it goes. But I do have other locos. They're not the only two I have. I've got 3 or 4 SD40s in different liveries. So I can run. Now, they're all DCC, so, I got the GP, I think it's a GP9. That's DC, but it still runs good. So, I mean, I'm not running short on anything, I got locos to run. I just haven't had time to do much with them. Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I almost forgot. This is kind of cool. I got this today. Tom Grassi sent it to me. And I'm going to show it to you. It's short, but it's really cool. I've never seen one before. Check it out.
This is a genius way to keep trains moving fast. In Queensland, tiny sugarcane trains cross big railway lines using automatic drawbridges. These bridges are usually up, letting the mainline trains pass. But when a cane train comes, the driver pushes a button to lower the bridge so the cane train can cross safely.
Really short, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd never seen nothing like that before, man. Hey, you guys, sometimes you find the coolest things, and I was able to copy it and play it on here, so it's like really neat, What else I got here? I showed you the logo for the tank car, and that was the drawbridge. I was going through my other computer a couple weeks ago, and I've got a whole file folder of all my past cars. Well, not all of them, but some of the cars that, kind of had more meaning than others. So I actually grabbed some of them, and you'd be interesting. I'm going to put them up here, and I'll try and go through them. Let's go back here. This one here, this is my 82 Firebird. I tandemized that one too. I never finished it. Once again, ran out of money. Well, I had the stroke shortly after. I got a little past that point, but And that blue Fiero was mine too. That was my everyday driver. But I was working on the six-wheeled Firebird. I had to lengthen the body on that. So, that was something. But, and this one here, this is my Malibu SS when I first bought it. This is the one I bought off a Preacher. I love that car. It was really good. I actually bought it for my ex-wife. Well, we were married at the time, but I wound up driving it more than she did. So, I kind of just wound up mine, really. I love that car. That was a great car, but that was when I had 4 or 5 engines in it, 9 transmissions, countless drive shafts, 2 differentials, busted the frame section twice. I mean, the last motor I put in it was a Wicked motor, and it was a 283, but I know damn good well I never had it, dynoed, but I had to be pushing close to 500 horse because I couldn't keep nothing behind it, break shit left and right. There's another shot of it. That's what happened. After we brought the car up to get married in South Carolina because I couldn't get married in Florida. Long story, which I won't get into, but we soaked the car, the just married shit. Yeah, that was fine, but driving back from South Carolina in the heat, the soap burned into the paint and ruined the paint job, which really pissed me off. So I'd never painted a car before, but I attempted to do this one. I didn't know shit about it. And it was lacquer, and I'd never worked with lacquer before. I didn't realize it till I shot it. If I'd have buffed it out, it probably would have been fine, but like I said, I was pissed off because it was really the wrong color and everything. I mean, I wasn't happy. I was a lot younger there. I think there I was, let's see, yeah, I'd have been 17 at that point. And the house, that was my late ex-mother-in-law's house at the time, and the baby carriage, well, I would have been 18 at that point because the baby carriage belonged to my oldest daughter, April. So, there's another picture of the car before it got ruined. Yeah, you could tell it was from the 70s, man. With the fur and shit inside, that was kind of weird, but that was the thing back then. Another picture of the Firebird. I had body work done on it. I had a friend who was a good body man, and we traded, stuff. And he built the fender flares and tied it all in and stuff. And it actually came out pretty good. There's another picture of it from a different angle. Another one. There's the Malibu again. I got this car for free from the junkyard. It didn't run when it was a 67 Pontiac Grand Prix. And I put a 350 in it. It had a 428 HO motor, high output. And it was blown, so I pulled the motor out. I built a 350 for it. And I went up selling it to a friend, and he drove it for a couple of years. I don't know what he did with it. The van next to it, like I said, I was painting contractor at the time. That was the company truck I had. I got a deal on that too. Paid $500 for it. The guy thought he was screwing me, but he had the straight, the slant 6 in it. And those were noted for overheating. Well, they replaced the water pump, the thermostat, the hoses, the fan clutch. They replaced everything except for the radiator. So when I got it, I paid $25 to have the radiator cord rotted, and the truck was fine after that. They were really pissed off when they found out it was only a $25 fix. They wanted the van back, so now, fuck you, it's mine now. Let's see what else. There's the Grand Prix again. That thing was a sled and a half, but it was a nice riding car. It really was. It was so big and heavy. There was the 77 Le Mans I bought for my first wife. I bought that from a junkyard. I gave $300 for it. I had it repainted. I put a motor in it because the motor was bad. It ran. I drove it back here. Had no brakes. Running on about 4 cylinders out of the 8. And I went ahead and fixed it all up, put the Landau top on it, painted it all up, got it painted, and put electric, power everything there, power windows, power seats, everything in there. She took that car with her when she left, and I guess she ran it in the ground. But it was a nice car, man. There's the Le Mans, the six-wheeler that I'm working on now, the model, the back end of it. And this car was always going through little changes. The quarter windows in the back, I had taken them out and filled them in for a while, and had little scoops there with lights in the front. And I did that for a while and eventually went back to the glass, but I was always changing my mind on how I wanted things to go. There's my Cadillac. I bought that to travel with after I got divorced. And I only had the car a week and it got hit by a drunk. Totaled the fucking car. It wasn't that color. That was in it. I was actually waiting to have it painted. I paid $250 for it. And had 500 in it. Everything worked, including the air conditioner. And I was down here with my sister, and some drunk dumbass in a fucking Chevette slammed in at me, and they said 76 to 78 mile an hour. It destroyed the fucking Chevette, and the motherfucker lived. But it knocked my rear bumper off both fender skirts, buckled the roof in 3 places, and snapped the windshield. So I went to the junkyard. I bought a rear clip from the windshield back. Me and my sister put it on, had the car painted, and drove it for another year. And I tell you what, it was a great highway cruiser. But in town, it really sucked the gas. There's the Le Mans again. That was a good looking car, I mean, it was probably the best car to put tandem wheels under it. Here's another shot of the Cadillac after I rebuilt it. Like I said, I cut the windshield post and the floor pan underneath the front seats, and the whole body went away, and then I bought another body section. It came out pretty good. Here's another shot of the Le Mans. Another shot. There's the engine I had in Le Mans. It was a 350, but it was built. I'm not sure what the horsepower is, but I know it was well over, probably close to 450 thereabouts. That thing would just roast the tires. Matter of fact, there I am smoking the shit out of it on a back road. And they didn't stop smoking the tires until I let off the gas. And I think I drove almost a half a mile, still smoking the tires. There's my Fiero. I bought that car for $100. It was a wreck when I bought it. Missing one headlight. The trunk lid was busted on it because it's all fiberglass. Had a 4-cylinder in it. I loaned it to my girlfriend at the time. She made it about 4 miles and the motor locked up. So I had it towed back. I bought a 2.8 V6 to put in it. It already had the 5-speed. And that car would do almost 140 all day long. But it was dangerous to drive. I had a friend paint it for me. He did a beautiful paint job on it. There's another shot of it. That's my shop, by the way, over there. Jim Tedesco Auto Repair. There's an overhead shot of the Le Mans. I'd changed the primer color several times, too. So, but like I said, it was a good-looking car. It really was. And the last car I had was the Pontiac, or the Buick Riata. I bought that after the Fiero started giving me problems and I couldn't get parts for it. So I traded it in. I bought this one for $10,000. It was an '89. Had the touchscreen dash in it. It was a really cool car, but they had issues with those too. I mean, I wound up putting the motor in it, 3 transmissions, and I wasn't beating the hell out of it. It was a poor design. It had 3.8 V6 in it. But then again, I used to run that thing, 140, 145 mile an hour all day long because it was about a 20-mile run for me to go to work every day. I get an I-75, 5 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't nobody on the road. So I just put it to the floor and let her go, man. Thought I got popped once. Cop was coming up on me pretty quick. He blew by me like I was standing still. He had to be doing 150, 160. And they really didn't give a shit back then, you know, so thank God, because I probably went to jail doing 145. But it is what it is. And that was the last picture, as a matter of fact. Go back to the original one. I see shut them down. So that's a brief history of some of the cars I had. You know, it's pretty cool. I actually had a couple. I had an Olds, Tornado. That was a '69. Yeah, '69 Olds Tornado. I had two. I had an Olds Cutlass. It was a '72. That car was given to me. I put an engine in it and sold it. Had two Buick. The fuck were they called? Big sled. Can't remember now, but it'll come to me eventually. I had a shitload. I had a '59 Ford. I had two Corvairs. I had a '66 and a '67 Corvair. One was a 4-door, one was a 2-door. I had over 100 cars, you know, through my life. Never wrecked a one of them. But I was always looking for something completely different. Like I got the '59 Ford. I paid $25 for it, right? Car ran good. It had 352 in it, V8, automatic transmission. Some idiot painted it with a paintbrush, this pea green, but I didn't care. Yeah, I know you could fit a family of 10 in the trunk. I think it was a sled. And I figured I'd be the only one in the area that would have one of those, right? This was a 74? No, 1976, I believe. Well, as soon as I got that thing, I saw 4 of them in Naples. What the fuck? Anyway, I blew the rear seal out of it. I was putting about a gallon of oil in it every day. And back then, you go to the gas station, they would give you free drain oil. And I'd fill up a 5-gallon bucket. And, you know, I was constantly putting oil in there until I got fed up one day and says, you know what? Another friend had an old beater, and I says, there's a big field over on 91st. Let's go play demolition derby. And we did. We destroyed both cars and left them there to, you know, for junk, and took our license plates, and that was the end of that. I had a Buick. No, it was an older Buick. No, it was a Buick Vista Cruiser wagon. I paid $25 for that. And everything worked in it, including the air conditioners. You know, it's '69, air conditioning wasn't a big thing, but it had working air, power windows, power seats, had a 340 V8 in it. And not many people knew that Buick had a 340, but they did. It was a very fast motor, by the way. It was almost like the Dodge counterpart, but it wasn't a Dodge motor, it was GM. And I blew that one up. I was racing somebody and launched a rod out the side, and that was the end of that. But hey, I got my $25 worth out of it, you know. And that was about average price for a car, you know. My first legitimate car that I got was a '67 Impala, 4-door. I paid $65 for that, straight 6. 3-speed on the column. I put a floor shifter in because that column shift sucked. Always get caught between gears. And I had that for 2 years. And a friend of mine says, hey, I got a friend works at the cemetery. He's got a '65 Impala convertible. He'll let you have it for $25. So does it run? He said, no, no transmission or engine in it. Fuck, I'll take the engine and tranny out of the '67, which I did. And I drove the convertible around for shit. I drove that for another 1.5 years. Till some asshole sugared my tank. But I got even with him, though. And you know, I knew he did it, and he was mad because I ran straight exhaust on it. And it was pretty loud. So, he borrowed it one day and it never ran right after that. And after, discovering, checking out things, I found there's about a ton of sugar in the tank. All right, I get that motherfucker. So you had a 73 Chevy Laguna Type S3. Nice little car, They said, hey, dude, can I borrow your car? Mine's down. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. Yeah, sure, go ahead. You know what happens when you're doing 70 mile an hour and shove it in reverse? Yeah, it drops the tranny all over the fucking road. That's exactly what happened. So I walked to a payphone and said, dude, I don't know what the fuck happened, but it's like the transmission detonated. I said, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna hitchhike back home. He knew what I did, but what was he gonna say? Well, I sugared your tank, so you blew up my fucking transmission. I figured we were even. Unfortunately, he was killed a year later. He was with a friend in a Econoline van. They were going down 951, which was 2 lanes at the time. And I guess he crossed, well, he wasn't driving, he was a passenger. But his friend who was driving crossed the center line, hit a fucking UPS truck head on. They were both doing 60, 65. There was nothing left of the fucking Econoline. They were both killed instantly. Which really sucked because he had a wife and a kid, and, But he was a kind of a dick, so there's a lesson there. Let's see, what am I doing here? Let's go. There it is. Cheryl says, Jim, which engine squeaked? That was the ET44. Or the ET or ES. One of the two, but that was the one I was squeaking, and I tried to lube it, but you can't get to the damn trucks on those things. You have to disassemble the whole locomotive to get the trucks down so you can disassemble them to grease them. There's no oil ports or anything. This is one of the problems I have with scale trains, that their trucks are literally a sealed unit. And it's stupid. So they said that one, that was a SD60, I think, the undecorated one. That's the one that melted the wheel on it. I know damn good well it was a truck issue, But they won't cover it, and so I found a set of trucks. I haven't bought them yet, but I think they're off in Athern. And with a slight modification, I can make them work on the scale trains. And they have a panel on the bottom where you take the screw out, and there's your gears, and they're easy to relubricate. That's the deal with that. Right. The one with the loose fan belt. Gerald says 428 CI equals, yeah, that was a hell of a motor. It's buried in the backyard of my old house. I didn't have the money to fix it at the time because parts for that were extremely expensive. It threw a rod, but it didn't damage the block. And of course it busted the piston too, so I would have needed one piston, one new rod, and if you're going to go that far, might as well do all 8, have it balanced. And I just didn't have the money to build a motor like that at that point, so. But I had a 350 in a Le Mans I bought for scrap. That was a good running motor. So I took the 350 out of that and put it in the Grand Prix, and it ran fine, It probably wasn't near as quick, but it got out of its own way, so, it was worked. The Scooby-Doo shaggin' wagon, oh yeah. I had the Econoline before. I had a 65 Econoline. I got from my dad. He bought it in 1969. It was owned by a furniture store. And they were doing like small runs with it, like a couch or something, instead of having a big truck for that. Well, it had a documented 400,000 miles on it. My dad, I don't know what he paid for, but I know he got it cheap. The truck was in good shape. I mean, no rust. The engine was fine, 3-speed transmission on the column. And electrically everything worked. And he wound up giving the truck to me. I welded the back door shut, put a bed in it. That was the real shaggin' wagon. And I had a 1959. It was actually made on my birthday, September 13th, 1959. 30-inch color TV. And yes, they did have them back then. One of my customers gave me the TV. The thing weighed a ton, but it had this big flat glass on it that was tinted slightly. And I said, you know, that would make a good, because I didn't know what to do with the TV anyway. So I took the glass out and made a skylight on top of the van. You couldn't open it, but it was up there. And then I gull winged both doors so they would come up. That was cool. I found that wasn't a great idea though, because in the parking lot you had to have a space open next to each. You couldn't park between your cars. Couldn't get out of the vehicle because the doors were so big that they'd swing into the car. Probably not the best thing I did, but it was still cool. I wound up selling the truck for $60. It developed a whole bunch of electrical problems literally overnight. And I didn't want to fuck with it, so I said, you know what? I just sell the damn thing. Guy gave me $60 for it. Don't know what he did with it. You know, he's probably still driving it to this day. Who knows? But that was a cool van. Thomas says I had an HO scale DCC diesel loco and it caught fire. That's not good. All right, Choverton, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Be safe and, you know, enjoy your weekend. Yep, Chuck, a 3 on the tree. They weren't bad, but the van had the same problem, the Econoline. It didn't happen often, but every now and then it would get jammed between two gears. And you couldn't do anything. It'd be like stuck in second. They'd get out, climb under the truck, and then there's massive shift arms on it. You grab them and just fucking yank on them until it broke loose, and then you were good to go for another week or month or whatever, you know. So it didn't happen often. I knew how to fix it, but you had to get under the truck to fix it. The same thing happened with my Impala, the three-speed in the column with that. The only thing is I could do that from under the hood, you know, because the bars are right there at the end of the column, and I could just grab the bar and kind of give it a good yank, and it would break it loose, and I'd be fine. So I'd have to climb under the car. But I got smart, so you know, I'm going to go buy a Hurst, and I did. I bought a Hurst 3-speed floor shifter, put that in, and that solved that problem all the ways around. Plus, it was more fun to drive. So, you know, but yeah, those are the days, you know. I had a good life. I really did, you know. And not that it's over already, because it's not, but my life has always been rather adventurous, and many things happen, both good and bad. I have no regrets at all. Not really. But, you know, I kind of miss some things that I can't do anymore, you know. I mean, my Grand Marquis is pretty quick. It's not fast. Hell, it's governed at 112. You know, I did. Right after I got, let me see what this thing will do. I got an I-75, man, put the hammer down, and 112 was all it do. I'm going, well, this sucks. The car's capable of 160, you know, with no modifications other than getting rid of the governor. But the governor's electronic, so I'd have to get one of those. A code reader won't do it because I have one of those, but a programmer. I'd have to get a programmer to release the governor and make a few other changes, and I get that car to do 150, 155 easily. You know. Problem is, the programmer's about $400. I don't have money. I wanted to put dual exhaust on it. That was going to be like $1,500, and I'm going, damn. I remember when I could do dual exhaust for, you know, a couple $100. I did it on all my cars. Yeah, with no big deal. But now it's like a big fucking, you know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, and of course, you know, you can't really, I mean, back in the day, you know, we used to fuck around with timing and change out cams or change cam timing a little bit. You know, carburetor work, put a bigger carb on it. There are all kinds of things you could do to make the car quicker and faster. Today, you still can, but you can't do it with a wrench or a screwdriver. You got to do it with a programmer. And then, of course, you're still limited to what the car is actually capable. The good news is the 4.6 Ford engine, it's basically a built motor, and they detuned it a little bit for, you know, the old people. But it can be undetuned, so, you know. Yeah, I had a handful of those. I was never a big fan of the Hollies. I think the biggest one I had is 780 double pumper. And I had it on that Malibu for a while because I wound up, I got it at a swap meet, not the carburetor, but the intake. It was an Offenhauser dual plane intake. Fucking thing was this wide. It was wider than the motor. It actually hung over the valve covers. And the beauty of it was it had interchangeable top plates. Well, the one I had was single 4-barrel, but you could have got 2 4s, 3 deuces, 6 singles. I mean, whatever you wanted, 8 singles. They had different top plates you could buy, and they would bolt right on. But I didn't really have the money to do that, so I kept the 4 on there. And of course, I had an adapter plate because it was a single size. All the throats were the same size. Where the GM, what the hell were they called? I can't remember now. Spread bore. You had two. The primaries were big and the secondaries were smaller, vice versa. And so I had to use an adapter on that. But then when I'm getting a Holly and putting that on there, it ran so much better. But man, would it fucking eat gas? I mean, when I was standing on it, the car would do 140, 145 easily, But the gasket, you'd watch it going down as you were doing it. I mean, the thing got shit for mileage, with that Holly on. So I took the Holly off and I got a Ford, with the Motorcraft off of Lincoln, 460 Lincoln, because it was jetted better than the smaller one. I put that on there. Still got the speed, but about twice the gas mileage. So I wound up using the Ford carburetors after that. I said, fuck the Hollies. Of course, the Hollies were bad because the diaphragms go bad in them. And that was a constant problem, especially if you backfired. If it backfired once, your diaphragm was fucked. You got to change it out. And of course, back in the day, cars backfiring was a kind of a common issue. So, especially when you're fucking around with the timing and shit. So, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the Holly, but the Motorcraft seemed to be a better carburetor. I almost went because I think it was still at it. One of the aftermarket companies had the Projection series. It was a fuel injection unit that would sit on top. It would bolt in place of the carburetor. Oh, Holly had it. That was, I think, $800. I almost bought one. And then I started hearing a lot of bad things about it. Of course, the control box, they would go bad in it. That was the most expensive part. So I said, well, fuck that. We'll just stick with the carburetor. Hey, Bernard C. How's it going, Bernard? Good to see you. Twice pipes blowing, my first choice. Fire-breathing tittle getter. Yeah, that'll do it. Never had a blowing motor. I wish I did, though. I always wanted one. They couldn't afford the blowers. I mean, a friend of mine got one off the racetrack. It was supposedly wore out. It was a 671 Jimmy, but he had it, and what he did is he took the innards out of it, the two worm gears, set it on, you got the intake for it, and he did something, and had 2 4s on top, but it wasn't. I mean, he had he had a pulley on it and everything, but it wasn't doing anything. It was fake, It looked cool though. But I said I'd want one. I want it to work. Fuck that shit. And that was right about the time the Mad Max movie came out. Remember Mad Max, the first one? He had that fucking. It was a Ford actually, or a Commodore maybe. I don't remember, but they put a blow. He said they put the V8 in there with a blower on it, and he had the clutch on the blower. They actually do make such a setup. I don't think it works as great as they want it to, but I thought that was the coolest thing. I said, that's what I want, a blower, but that fucking switch on the fucking gear shift so I could turn that fucker on and off at will. That would be too cool. But, I mean, you're talking crazy money for that shit. I didn't have it. All right, Joe, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time, and have a good and safe weekend. Holly for the track, quad for the street. Yeah, Well, I had a friend he had a Mustang fastback. I don't know, it was a '74, I think, '75. I don't remember what year it was, but stupid fastback things. When you look in the rearview mirror, your back window was about this deep. I hated driving. I drove it a couple times. You keep this fucking thing, you know. Yeah, V8. I think he had a 351 Windsor in it, and he put a fucking what's the biggest high? Is it 8,000 series? It's the biggest Holly they make. It's a racing carburetor, right? Basically, two throttle positions, idle and full out. We put that on that fucking motor, and I laughed at him because I said, that ain't going to work. Well, yes, it will. Bigger carburetor, faster car. It ain't going to work. You got more carburetor than you're throwing more gas than the motor can handle. Well, he'd start up, and it'd start, and he'd hit the gas, go, bleh, bleh, and it'd die out, because it just couldn't handle all that fuel going in. I told him, dude, you can't run that. You're going to have to put at least a bigger cam in the car. You might be able to do that, but why do you even want this thing? Because it had no choke plate or anything, because it was for racing, What an idiot. People did a lot of weird shit back then. Bernard says, I'm so tired of shoveling snow. I'm hungry. Where's your snowblower, man? I don't think you're a young man anymore, are you? I mean, what the hell are you doing shoveling that shit? Go on, buy a fucking snowblower. What do they cost? $400-500? Money well spent, trust me. Chuck says, Jim, in my '71 Chevelle when I was a kid, you could watch the gas gauge move ever so slowly. I averaged about 9 miles per gallon. Not that I wasn't punching it here and there. That's what I'm saying. I think most of my cars got about 13 miles to the gallon. Which that was kind of average back in the day, and that was until you put your foot in it. Put your foot in it, forget it. Like I said, I had a friend, he had what the hell was it? It was a 77 Firebird. Had a 400 in it, the Pontiac 400. No, Pontiac 455. Because he had the 400, he blew that up. But a 455 in it. He found himself a dual quad tunnel ram to put on it. Two fucking Holley 780s on top, double pumpers. 4-speed transmission. Tell you what, I rode in that car once. That fucking car pulled sideways every time he hit a gear. I mean, fourth gear, fucking sideways, roasting the tires. But you watch the gas gauge. I mean, it moved fast. He must have been getting about 2 miles to the gallon. He didn't keep it on there because he said he can't afford the gas for it, but it was just fun. I mean, that car was fucking wicked fast, Gerald said the Studebaker Alvante would kick in the supercharger when the pedal hit the... Oh, that's cool. When I was still building my Le Mans, the 6, I rented a storage unit to do the work in because I didn't have a garage, and people were starting to get pissed off with me working in the car on my car in the driveway, so I rented a storage unit. Well, across from me, there was a guy, and he was an older guy. He was like in his mid-60s. He had a Studebaker from 1956 or 57. Ugly fucking car. Well, he fucking chopped it, stretched it, channeled it. Had a fucking Corvette engine in there with twin turbos and a fucking 4-speed. And I wasn't there long enough for him. I never saw it run. I mean, he started a few times. I don't think he drove it. He was doing mostly body work on it. Like I said, it was narrowed, chopped, stretched, all kinds of shit he did to it. It didn't look really like a Studebaker after it got done with it, but that fucking motor though, man, Jesus Christ. And he was sometimes I thought he was more interested in my car than he was in his own. Because he says, what the fuck are you building? I go, this is my tandem axle Le Mans. He says, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. I said, well, that's the idea. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's got one, And he says, "Ah, that's the coolest thing I ever seen." I said, "Well, what are you building over there?" He said, "That's my Studebaker." I've heard of Studebakers, although I've never seen one. So I went and checked it out, and it was really cool. So we actually became friends and helped each other out a little bit here and there. But I was only there for less than a year. I got the car, it was finished as I was going to, and that was it, So I started driving the car after that. All right, Andy, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you. Hey, Dave Nish, how you doing? Good to see you, man. But yeah, those, like I said, those are some incredible days. They really were. And I don't think we'll ever go back to that time. I know a lot of people would like to, but I don't ever see that happening. I mean, it was a different time without a doubt. Bernard says, Jim, I had one of the best carb shops in the country. Probably still have the largest inventory of parts now. They're gold factory, Fomoco, Delco, etc. Oh, cool. I started getting into rejetting the carbs and stuff later on. Yeah, pretty good at it, I guess. But like I said, that was my thing, though. I mean, every car I had was relatively quick. But I never got past 145. That was my personal top speed in anything I owned. I did help a guy build a split window Corvette. I think it was a 65 or 66. I don't remember. We put a 454 in there and 4-speed. And the deal was I helped them do it. I got to drive it first. Just once. So after we got it finished, I took it down 8th Street, 2-lane road, Naples Park. Very stupid. But like I said, I was 15 at the time. I didn't care. And I did 165 miles an hour in that car. Probably would have went faster, but I was starting to run out of road. I had to start braking. But if somebody would have blew a stop sign or something, now there would have been nothing left of either one of us. But that was my personal speed up until I drove the Viper. The Viper, I got up to 198. I was shooting for 2. Started to get a vibration in the car. And said, that's it. It scared me. I said, I'm not ready to die here just to break 200 mile an hour. So I backed off. So that's my new personal record is 198 miles an hour. Did it in a Dodge Viper, a brand new one. This farmer I knew, one of my customers, he bought it for his wife. All right. 6-speed manual. The car was it was a disaster. I mean, I didn't like it. I thought it was a piece of shit, really. But he brought it over and he said, I bought this for the wife. She won't drive it. He says, your wife can't drive it because her wife's like 68 years old. She can't drive this fucking thing. She'll kill herself in it. Well, she told me I got to give it back. So he said, before I brought it back, I figured you'd want to go for a ride in it. I said, fuck that. I want to drive the fucker, man. He says, really? He says, yeah, let me drive it. He says, when do you want to do it? He says, bring it here Sunday. It's like midweek. I said, bring it back here Sunday. I'll meet you about 7 in the morning. So there will be nothing on I-75. So we'll take it down there. We'll see what this fucker does. I said, how fast have you driven? He said, I've had it up to 135. I said, oh man, you didn't even get out of 4th gear yet. Yeah. And this car will do 200, I think they were 212 mile an hour is what they were rated at. I said, so he agreed to it. I was surprised. But we were kind of friends as well. And he was a really good customer. He had to be working all his cool shit. He had a fucking race boat. And I mean, the guy was old. He was in his 60s, but, in his brain, I think he was still in his 20s. So he brings the car over. We get in the car. We go down to 75. And before you know it, I'm like, it's 198. I started getting a vibration there. And it scared me. And I said, nah, I ain't going no faster. So I backed off. I probably could have done it. But I actually did get scared. And that was the fastest I'd ever driven a car in my entire life. It was a trip, man. It really was. As I said, these guys that go down the drag strip at 250 miles an hour and a quarter, I don't know how the fuck they do that. I'd probably pass out, about 10 foot off the start line. So I got to do a lot of cool things, you know. I mean, people trusted me with their cars. I don't know why, you know. The girl I was dating when I was a teenager, I was 15. I only had a restricted driver's license. I wasn't really supposed to drive by myself, although I did. Well, he wanted to come over and, you know, fuck my girlfriend's mother. He'd hand me $20 and the keys to his car. He had two cars. He had a Lincoln Continental, which was one of his, you know, favorite cars, and he had the Mustang he called the Muskrat. It was a convertible, beautiful car. I don't remember what year it was. It was 76, 77, somewhere. I don't know, but beautiful car. That was his pride and joy. Hey, over there one day, he says, "Hey, look," he says, "here's $20. Take Penny and disappear for a while. Let's see a movie. Take my car. Says, you trust me with your fucking Muskrat?" He says, "You ain't gonna hurt it, are you?" I said, "Well, no, you know me better than that." He said, "Fine, get the hell out of here. Don't come back for a few hours." Yeah, we get in the car, take off. We actually went to see the movie, driving, and you know, and that car was quick too. He was a salesman at the Ford dealership. I think in Fort Myers, next town over, and he had that car built for him. And I don't know what it had for an engine. I never looked. It was a big V8. I know that. Probably 351 Cleveland or something. You know, hell, it might even had a 427 in it for all I know. I know it's fucking fast. You know, but I had to be careful because I didn't want to wreck his car. He would have killed me. Same thing with his Lincoln. Another time he said, "Here, take the Lincoln out." He said, "Oh, by the way," he says, "you know, all the seats fall down into a big bed." No kidding. He says, "Yeah, let me show you how to do it." And they did. You could fold all the seats down in this Lincoln. You had one big bed. It was like a king size bed. I said, "Holy shit." So he said, "Yeah, take your girlfriend. I go have some fun. Leave me alone for a while." Had to be another $20, right? So, you know what happened after that, right? But, so, you know, I mean, you know, the people, they just let me use their cars. They didn't care. I never damaged anything. You know, I wouldn't really wreck anything or really abuse it, but I guess I had that trusting face or something. I don't know. It was weird. Tom says, "Jim, my personal best was 163 Mazda Turbo 5-speed on Merritt Parkway on my Harley, 145 on Garden State Parkway." Oh, there you go. Tell you what, going 145 on a bike, that's insanity, man. Fastest I've been on a bike, I think, was 70. Yeah, well, riding the bike. As a passenger, 130. And that motherfucker, I was going to kill him. He wanted to race a fucking Porsche. He had a Yamaha 650 with a 750 bore kit in it. And the bike was fairly quick, but Ray was a big guy. It didn't quite do what it should do because of his weight. I'm riding on the back with him. We're in East Naples. He goes, "You're going to race that guy in the Porsche." "No, you're not." "Yeah, I am." "No, you're not, motherfucker, you know. Not with me on the back of this motherfucker, you ain't." It's at night. And it's true, you do get tunnel vision when you're going that fast at night. All you can see is like right in front of you. The weirdest thing, but that bike, man, I swear I thought we were going to die. I mean, the Porsche beat us. Or no, we beat the Porsche because, you know, bikes are faster than cars. But that bike, he's got 130 miles. I mean, just vibrate the shit out of you, you know. If I'd have been a woman, I probably would have enjoyed it. But as a man, not so much. So I'm beating him on the back. Slow this motherfucker down and screaming, you know. He finally comes in. I was so pissed, I was ready to kill him, you know. "You ever do that shit again with me on the back of the bike, I'll end your fucking life." What the fuck is wrong with you, you know? You could have got us both killed. Oh, man, I'm a good rider. I was famous last words, you know. But that was the fastest I've ever been on a bike as a passenger. As a rider myself, I had a friend had a, what the hell was that? That was a Yamaha. I don't remember what it was. It was 400? No. It was a smaller Yamaha. It was a street bike, but I borrowed it a couple of times because I needed to get somewhere, and that was the only thing that was available. They throw me the keys to be careful, which I did. But I actually got it up to 70, and I was a little nervous because I'm thinking, no, you know, anything goes wrong, I'm fucked. Because I'd seen too many people that, you know, if it didn't kill them, They probably wish they were dead. I said, that's not going to be me. But in a car, no fear at all in a car, you know. Bernard says, now my grandson's running 230 in the 1,000-foot, few quarter-mile tracks. Love you, I imagine. Shit, though, 230 mile an hour? Jesus Christ. That's fast. Chuck says, Thomas, you just brought back memories of me hauling ass on Garden State Parkway, heading south to our family shore home on Friday night. You're lucky the State Patrol didn't catch you. When I was young, I remember my dad, Chuck, we lived in Jersey, you know, and he used to let me drive on his lap on the Garden State Parkway. You know, I think I was about 5 years old, you know. And I remember when I think I was 6, he was telling me, he said, you know, he said he wasn't sure, but he said there was a rumor that if you got caught speeding by the State Patrol, New Jersey State Patrol, they would give you an option: take the ticket and pay it, or you can race them. But if you lost, you had to pay double the ticket. If you won, you didn't get the ticket. I don't know if it was true or not, but of course I was never old enough to drive legally in Jersey before we came down here. But I've been in Jersey a few times, and I'll tell you, nobody does a fucking speed limit up there anymore. Last time I was up there was right before my stroke. And the woman I was moving down here, a friend of a friend deal, we went up there we took the Amtrak up and rented a 26-foot U-Haul to drive it back with her car. She had a, God damn, what's those expensive fucking cars? I can't think of it now. Not an Acura. I can't think of the fucking name. Anyway, like a Mercedes, but not. But anyway, that car was pretty quick, and I had to go out to the store the first night we were there because she didn't have really anything for us to eat, and I was dying of hunger, you know. So I borrowed her car, and I remembered 2 things I hated about Jersey. One, there's no left-hand turns, and there are none. You're going down the road, you got to wait for there's a right-hand turn where it goes over or under so you can get on the other side. I had to drive like 6 miles past the convenience store to be able to turn around and get to the store. It was stupid, you know. And of course, you can't pump your own gas in Jersey. It's illegal. I always thought that was ignorant, too. The 2 things I remembered about Jersey I didn't like. Yeah, I heard the Ramblers did that, too. I never had a Rambler. I've seen a lot of them in the woods. They were always abandoned, you know, because they were shit boxes, but yeah, I was like I said, yeah, I had a really interesting one. I'm sure most of you guys did too. We all did, you know, because we grew up in the right time. And I mean, I won't go so far as to say it was the good old days, like our parents, you know, they said that their time was the good old days, even though it really wasn't. And there were some bad things too, even when I was growing up. But I think we were probably the most fortunate out of the generations, the boomers, because we were able to get away with so much, you know. I played with bombs, homemade bombs, used to blow trees out of the woods, you know. Drove cars without a license. I drove for, you know, I first started driving when I was 12 years old. A guy gave me a 1955 Oldsmobile Rocket. It had a Rocket 88 engine in it or some shit. I don't even remember what model it was, but that's what they referred to it as. It was one of the first cars that had automatic in them. They were the fluid coupling automatics. Guy gave me the car. All I had to do was scrape the paint off the windows because some kid spray painted it, you know. And my mother had a cow when she found out I had the car because it was in my name. I actually went down, I think it was $5 to put it in my name, you know, change the title. And you didn't need a license back then to do that. Now you have to have a valid driver's license to title a car. There wasn't no insurance. It wasn't mandatory, so I had my very own car at 12 years old. Caused a lot of problems with me and my mom, though. She hated it. I couldn't park it at the house. She wouldn't let me. I had to park it at a friend's house. I drive all over fucking Naples with it. Never got caught. Nobody bothered me. You know, I didn't drive like an idiot or anything, but I started driving at 12 years old. And I was driving other cars constantly. It was no big. To go in the bars. I never got carded. 13 years old, I walk on a bar, fucking order a beer. Nobody blink an eye because I had this. You know. So I said when I was dating that 21-year-old woman with the kid, one of the things, you know, she said, you know, like I said, she thought I was older. I thought I was the same age as her. I wasn't going to tell her the truth. Why would I? And she said, why don't you go get us some alcohol? I said, all right. So I went in a liquor store, picked up a couple of bottles of fucking, what'd I get? I got a bottle of wine and I got a bottle of vodka. Brought it out. I mean, she never questioned my age. I never got carded, you know. Now, when I got married to my first wife, she always looked young, even though she was a year older than me. She got carded for everything everywhere. That was kind of funny. It used to piss her off, you know. I said, oh, well, it is what it is. Lots of confessions here. Yeah, kind of. Jim should have reminded you I had an engine build, the flow bench, speed shop, and performance. Yeah, that's true. You did. I forgot about that. I was still having my work. I had sent out my stuff, you know, to have crankshafts turned and balanced and all that crap. But I think most of the work I did myself, except for that. Now, the first Pontiac engine I tried to rebuild, I didn't know that the factory was notorious, and they were on the Pontiacs. I don't know about any other cars, but on the Pontiac engines, they were notorious for having different sized journals on the crank. So I bought a set of, you know, bearings and standard size, and I put the thing together, and it won't fucking turn. What the fuck's going on here? Take it all back apart again. I actually mic'd everything. Well, what the fuck? It's like three not millimeters, 3,000's different on each journal. Well, one might be, you know, one at 1.5, the other one's 1.8, more than that, but I don't remember the exact numbers. And it's like, so after that, you have to have the crank turned. So they're all the same. So that was like standard procedure for any motor I built after that. Like I said, it was a real problem on Pontiac. So, and I got sued when I had my shop because this guy had a fire. It was a Trans Am. It was supposed to be an official pace car. Turns out it wasn't because the numbers didn't match. But it had a was a 302 in there? The 302? What was one with a turbocharger? It was slightly smaller than the 350. I don't remember now, but he said he wanted to switch out the motor. I said, well, I really didn't want to do it, and I shouldn't have. But he eventually convinced me to do it. And he had built another motor for it. And I said, well, here's the deal. I said, I'll put the motor in. I can't guarantee anything. You built it. I don't know if you did it right or not. You know. Oh, it's right. Don't worry about it. So I put it in. It was locked up tighter than a drum. But he never turned the crank. So I dropped the pan and, you know, loosened up the journals on everything and spun after that. But I, you know, you're gonna have to have the crank turned on. I said, well, you don't know what you're doing. I said, dude, I tried to tell you. I don't guarantee it's in writing. It's running contract. I don't guarantee anything you built. If I built it, I'll guarantee it. But I didn't build it. You did. So he tried to sue me for $20,000. Her car wasn't worth $500. You know. And he won the lawsuit, believe it or not, because I wasn't ASC certified. Thought it was kind of a waste of time and money to get that little patch on my shirt. You know, but I've been in business for 10 years, and I had thousands of satisfied customers. You know, never had a problem. But because I wasn't ASC certified, the judge found me guilty of it. So, of course, she did lower the price to $5,000. So they said, there ain't no fucking way that car's fake. I ran the numbers on it. It's not a pace car. It's a piece of shit anyway. Nothing works in it. The interior's shot. You know, probably hasn't. You know, I mean, well, it did run when I got it, but it probably hadn't really been driven in a long time. So it got down to 5,000. I said, you know what? Fuck you. I ain't paying you a fucking dime. I'll burn you and the fucking car down before I give you a dime. And I walked out to court. He goes crying, Judge, Your Honor, he won't pay. We can make a judgment. We can't force him to pay. That's on you. That fucker called me up a couple of days later. Are you going to pay or not? I said, no, I'm not paying. You scammed me. You're a fucking con artist. And if I see you, I'm very likely to break your legs at the very least, possibly take your life at the very most. You best somebody stay away from me. You know. Never heard from him again after that. No, I was never a dancer at all. I didn't dance. I didn't know how. I mean, I did a slow dance once in a country bar with this woman I picked up because I wanted to get laid that night and I just didn't care. And I guess I did okay, but that was the only dancing I've ever done in my entire life. And yes, I did get laid that night. And Bernard says, oh no, wife story. Well, our second date was her first 100-mile-an-hour total out of the car date. There you go. Now I remember the first time, my ex-wife, my first wife, she had a Plymouth Valiant that her parents bought her. That was her car. Well, I think it was a 64, 65, I'm not sure. It was old fucking. Well, I'm driving the fucking car, and of course I'm an idiot, you know. But relatively I know what I'm doing. Well, we're going around this big bend in Pine Ridge at about 80 miles an hour. She freaks out, grabs me, and tries to grab the wheel, right? And I'm like, fuck, what are you trying to get us killed? You know, why are you driving so fast? Because this is the way I drive. You're supposed to trust me, you know. That, you know, the passenger never dies anyway. The driver always dies. Not the other way around. I don't remember. But after that, she trusted me. She never had that problem before. I was so mad at her, though. I mean, I screamed at her. I said, don't you ever fucking grab me when I'm driving the car. You'll get us both fucking killed or hurt, you know. But after that, she trusted me. And I'll tell you what, I used to do some crazy shit, man. Back in the day, you know. I remember I had my Le Mans before he six-wheeled it. Coming back from Fort Myers, and these jackasses kept brake checking me. I don't know why. You know, just a dumbass. All right, you want to play? We can play. So we wound up doing about 110 going down the road. He's brake checking me. All right, I'm about this far off his fucking bumper. Now, I'm not bragging here, but I had at the time crazy fast reflexes. Matter of fact, I was rated number 5 in the entire state of Florida for fastest reaction time as far as driving was going. So, you know, we're doing 110 mile an hour, gas brake. I mean, I'm never farther than maybe an inch, 2 inches off his bumper. He got so flustered he finally pulled off the road. I guess he was trying to scare me. It's like, dude, don't play chicken with a person who's fearless. I didn't care, you know. My wife's sitting in the car. She didn't care, you know. She trusted me 100% behind the wheel, you know. Now, my current wife, she freaks out if I do over 60. She's just like so scared to die that it isn't funny. I'm going, look, if you get in a wreck over 40 miles an hour, there's a good probability you can die, even at 40, you know. You know what the difference between doing 40 and 140 is? At 140, you die a little faster, but you still die. And that's the way I've always looked at things, you know. Stupid is what stupid does. Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, I was an excellent driver. I did things in cars that most people, you know, might fantasize about. I mean, I did all the tricks. The only thing I never did was run one up on 2 wheels on the side. I always wanted to do that, but, you know, there wasn't really no place to do it, and I didn't want to risk wrecking a car, because I'd never wrecked a car. You know. But everything else, 180s, 360s, reverse 180s. you know. But I got thrown out of class for the day at driver's ed because we were going down Radio Road, which was 2 lanes. They wanted me to do a 3-point turnaround. I thought, well, that's a waste of fucking time. So I was doing about 55 anyway, which was a speed limit. So I fucking, pulled the brake, fucking spun the fucking wheel. I did a 180 right there in the fucking road. Never left the road. Wound up in the proper lane. That fucker was so pissed off at me. Mr. Tedesco, pull over, get the fuck out of the car. What I did a turnaround. That's not what I was talking about. I was supposed to do a 3-point. Why do it in 3 when you could do it in 1? I was relegated to the back seat for the rest of the day, And like I said, I had 3 girls in the car with me. I taught them how to drive because they were like total newbies in driving, and. But I never got my certificate, I'm just showing you I'm a good driver. They didn't seem to think I was, but I was. Bernard says 65 Ford Galaxy. I had a friend who had one of those. Those are cool cars. I had a 429. He didn't have a 429 in his. What do you have? A 351, I think. Or Cleveland in his, maybe. Thunderjet moved 20 inches back through the firewall, narrowed 9 inches. That's cool. The brake check. Well, of course he was. But, like I said, I had no fear. I knew I had quick reflexes. And the reason I know is because when I was in driver's ed, we had this device that sat on the table and it had a brake pedal. And it would test your reflexes. And they kept thinking, they thought I was cheating. Because my reflexes were so fast, it was like within a 100th of a second of when you got the light to hit the brake, And I just, no, I don't know, that's how I do it, And they may take the test like a dozen times and had other people take the test. Theirs came out, I guess, normal. Because normally there's like I think it's anywhere from 1 to 3 second delay in your reactions, and that's considered normal. And I was doing it in like a 1/10 of a second or something. It's like almost instantaneous, and they were like, how are you doing this? I don't know, I'm just doing it, So, of course, they kept track of it, and in the entire state of Florida, I was like the 5th fastest on reaction time in the whole state. So it's like, never got any awards or anything for it. I should have. But it was cool. It was fun. Gerald says, Bernard C., the JMRI website, explains how to download and install the needed version 11 of JavaScript in order to run. Yeah, I had to do that. Under Learn About JMRI, click on the online help. It will walk you through the install. Yeah, well, I had to do the same thing. It was a little confusing at first, but then I finally figured it out. I actually had a version of Java, but it was like version 3, like 30 years ago. So, but yeah, like I said, I had a good time growing up. I had a lot of fun, got to experience a lot of things. Yeah, my current wife, I think she's jealous sometimes. She says, well, you got to live your life, and I ain't done shit. I said, sure you have. Because you're trying to compare your life experiences with mine. That's not gonna, it would never have happened, The women have different life experiences than men do. Yeah. Still used to piss her off, though. I was offline for a second, really? Yeah, doing good here. No drop frames, in the green, speed's good. I'd be on your end. Because everything's working real good over here. Even in my monitor, I'm showing I'm doing good. So. I had Walmart give me a notification. Don't need that. So, So yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Jim, would you really kick my Thomas? I couldn't kick my fucking dog's ass. Okay, and seriously, I mean, the stroke fucked me up bad. Why do you think I carry a gun? Because I can't fight anymore. There was a time, yeah, I probably would have kicked your ass easily. I'm not bragging. I'm being deadly serious. I was excellent shape, very strong, had a lot of power here, but those days are gone, man. I'm old, fat, stroke damaged. As I said, I got a shirt that says, I'm too, what is it, too old to run, and something else, and then that's why I carry a gun. I'll just shoot your ass and get it over with, And it's true. Oh, it's too old, too slow to run, too old to fight. Something, I don't remember, but I got a shirt that says that. Honestly, I couldn't kick anybody's ass. I mean, realistically, I couldn't. If I were to hit you, you'd probably laugh at me. I don't think I could do any damage. And that's why I carry a gun. Yeah. The 45 beats a fist every day, every time. So, Well, we're all getting fat, I guess, or some of us already are. I'm actually, I lost a couple of pounds in the last week. Like I said, my eating habits are a little different. And I've been on my feet more than I ever have been. Because now I got to cook for myself and shit. My wife used to complain that it was a long distance between the living room and the kitchen. I always thought she was full of shit, but, she was right. It is a long walk. I got like a long galley kitchen. The stove is at the very end. And it's probably about maybe 25 foot to get to my desk. I know it's not, like it's across the road or anything, but, when you can barely walk from the stroke damage, that's kind of rough on me, and I can't stand for anything at the time, so I'm constantly going back and forth from my chair to the kitchen to make sure I don't burn my food. So maybe 3 or 4 times until the food's cooked. So, I mean, I got this watch, like I said, that records my steps. What are my steps so far? 1,260 steps today. And that's on the low end. I've been averaging between 1,500 and 1,900 steps a day, which I know is not a lot, but for me it is. So I'm actually starting to lose some weight, which is a good thing. Thomas says guns win the fight every time. Well, not every time, but most of the time. If you go up to, Bruce Lee, I don't think it matters whether you got a gun or not. I don't know, that's what they claim anyway. I think it all depends upon how quick you are. If you wait for him to get to you, you're screwed. But if you pop him before he gets in position, he's going to bleed and die like everybody else. Drudge says, guys, if you want, you can see some of my kids' cars. Google Team Outcast. Haven't done much on the sites on Facebook, too. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. Bernard says, God made man, Colt made a sequel. Yes, he did. And I have a 1911. It's not a Colt, but it's a Rock Island, actually. But, I like the 1911. I always felt it's a good, reliable gun. Only holds 6 rounds. Well, six in the mag, 1 in the chamber, but that's all you need. I mean, if you can't take somebody out with 7 rounds, maybe you shouldn't have a gun. So, I mean, that's the only way I looked at it. I mean, I bought a compact 45. That was a Taurus. It was a piece of shit. I wound up selling it because I didn't like it at all. I mean, it was small, but it was wider because it was a double stack, and I think that held 11 or 12 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. I mean, but it just, I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like the way I held it. It had a little bit more kick than I anticipated. I just didn't like it. Had all these safety shit on there too, like a fucking flag that would come up and tell you there's 1 in the chamber. You always assume there's 1 in the chamber, whether there's 1 or not. I don't need a fucking flag to remind me. You know. So yeah, is it 6 rounds? Yeah, 6 rounds of one in the chamber, right? I think. Like I don't even fucking remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's 7 rounds altogether. I've got the officer's model. I also have a full size 1911 too. Actually, I have two 1911s, and I have a 1922, which is a 1911 and 22 caliber. That's the one I keep in here. And the 22 holds 11 plus one in the chamber. But like I said, I haven't shot any of the guns in forever. It seems like I need to practice more. You know, I mean, I don't really need to practice, but it's always good to do it. You know, like I said, I'm a really good shot. I mean, I went almost 6 years without firing a gun. And then one day I got a bone up my ass. You know, I'm gonna go out shooting. So I went to the range and just as good at the range as 6 years prior. You know, so it's like, well, I didn't lose any. It's like a bike. You know, you never forget how to ride one. Thomas says, Jim, the white railroad spike looks better. I used acrylic paint on this bike. Yeah, you can use any kind of paint you want. Will it wear off? Well, yeah, eventually it will. I mean, if you know, rub on it or sand on it, it will. But I mean, as long as you don't mess with it, it'll stay on there forever. It shouldn't peel off or anything like that. It should get good adhesion on that. Hey, you got me wondering how many fucking rounds that thing holds. I know it's more than 5. I'm pretty sure it's 6 in the mag and 1 in the chamber. It's 7 shots, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I got the fucking thing sitting in my drawer forever. I know both the officer's model and the full size have the same capacity, which is kind of weird. Now, they have a subcompact now that holds less. See, that only holds 5, 1 in the chamber. But I don't have a subcompact. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 7. 6 in the mag, 1 in the chamber. Like I said, now you're making me second guess myself. I guess that happens though. You know, I could shoot out here anytime I want. I mean, you know, I just gotta be careful not to shoot high. But nobody cares around. I shoot the 22 all the time. Because I've had to kill possums and I got a raccoon I don't really want to kill, but I may have to. It depends. It's up to him, you know. He starts tearing up the place and he's gonna die. But as long as he doesn't tear up anything, I'll let him live. I really same with the possums. The possums, they were getting into everything. You know, they were knocking over the trash cans, scattering trash all over the place. No, I don't need that crap. You know. No, none in my backyard, not at all. Your Kimber holds 10, huh? Damn, what, are they double stacked? They'd almost have to be. Hey, Algernon, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. No, I sold the chickens. If I'm going to live here alone, I don't want to have to deal with chickens, and I got quails in the house in a cage. They're sold. The guy's picking them up Sunday. Um, I got rid of the only thing I'm having is I got my 2 dogs, and that's it. You know. And Roxy, I'm probably going to have her put down soon. She's 17. She's getting worse and worse. Um, I don't want to see her suffer, so, you know, at some point, she's going to have to get the needle. As much as I hate to do it, but I mean, she's already blind and deaf, and she's got cataracts real bad, and she has 0 hearing. So, you know, I mean, she just kind of wanders around all day long, and of course, she's incontinent. That's a problem. So at some point, I'm going to have to do something. Yeah, I had But when Deb left, she left behind, there was 8 or 9 hens and 2 roosters. I sold them all. I got 100. Well, I sold everything. I sold the quail, the cage, and the chickens for $150. I figured I did okay with it. I mean, wasn't looking to make a killing on it. I just really wanted to get rid of them. Well, fortunately, the people took the chickens already. They'll be back Sunday to get the quail and the cage, and I'll give them whatever food I got left over and stuff. Because it's too much work for me, man. You know, I was feeding the chickens every day for a while, and the quail. And it's like, man, this is just bullshit, you know. So, gotta do what you gotta do, you know. The dog's a lot easier to deal with. Bernard says now that eggs are $17 for an 18. Yeah, they're almost $1 a piece. What kind of quail? I don't remember what they're called. They're fucking huge. They actually look like mini chickens. They're good food. That's why we got them, to eat them. And of course, I've got 6 of them, 6 females and 2 males. And they're laying eggs. I don't eat their eggs because they're small. But the idea was, in case things went to hell, I'd have an extra food source. But now that Trump's in there, I don't think that's really going to be a problem. So, you know. Actually, she said she wanted to shoot me. She didn't say it to my face, but she said it to Tom's wife. You know, what could I say? Gerald says, Bernard C. for the older Windows under kick the tires, click install it on Windows. It should explain it to you. You will need an older version of JMRI also. Production release 4.26 and Java version 11. Version 11. Yeah, probably because, you know, 7 is... I had 7 a long time ago, but, you know, when they stopped supporting it, I finally went to 10. But I'm not going to 11. Fuck 11. I'm keeping 10. Even if they do stop supporting it, I just don't care. You know. I don't know what 12 is supposed to be. 12 is supposed... I got 12. Remember when Windows 8 came out? It was a piece of shit. And they came out with the 8.1. That was supposed to fix it. It didn't. And finally, they skipped 9 and just went to 10. 10 was like the lucky number. I'm hoping 12 will be. But I gotta see. The problem with these, I've got a pirated 10 in there now. Actually all 3 of my machines. And there's no spyware in them, so I don't really have to worry about that, and they're very small and a lot quicker than most Windows 10 units are. I don't know if I could find a 12 that would be similar. So I'm just, like I said, I'd stay with 10, fuck it, you know. Thomas, I don't get the cops involved in nothing. You know, I don't have a problem with the cops, but I don't rely on them. They've never actually done anything for me, ever. Except maybe arrest me here and there and that sort of thing, but I prefer to handle things my own way. They said, when I bought this house, the squatters that were here with the previous owner, they didn't want to leave. Like I said, title's down my name, we could pull in the driveway, they're still living there, all 7 of them. So I walked in, I said, well, you got to leave now. Well, we don't want to. I said, well, I got 45 that says you will. You know. And I went out to the car, grabbed the 45, fucking racked one, walked back in the house. So who wants to be the first one? They couldn't get out of there quick enough. I could have called the cops. You know what the cops would have told me? You'll have to evict them. Well, where would I fucking stay while I'm trying to evict these assholes? That could take weeks, even months. I don't have time for that crap. You know? Would I have shot them? You bet your ass I would have. I don't think they'd have been that stupid to get shot. But I got my point across. Like I said, I don't need cops for anything. You know. Could they have called the cops on me? Well, they could have, but I would still shot them. You know, I don't fucking care. It's just the way it is. Bernard says, I got 50 acres in a backhoe. I wish I had 50 acres. Well, I got almost 2 acres, but I don't have a backhoe. If I did, well, I would have killed that bear too, you know, because before they were, now you could kill them legally, but before you couldn't. You know, fuck with my chickens, I'll fucking kill you, you know. But they were protected. If I'd have killed that bear, I'd have probably went to jail over it. It's stupid. But, you know, if I had a backhoe, well, I could have buried that motherfucker and then, I don't know what you're talking about. Gerald says, Win 12 should be a good one. Every other release sucks, so I have hopes for 12. 7 good, 8 sucks, 10 good, 11 sucks. Yeah, that's true. Well, like I said, I've had to pull my gun a few times. Never shot anybody, but it's borderline legal, you know, because you know it's, what do they call it? There's a word for it, and you could go to jail for that. Brandishing. You know, you're not supposed to brandish your weapon. Well, look, if I don't have to kill somebody, displaying it should be enough to get the job done. Why is that illegal? You know. But basically, the cops are telling you, well, if you have to bring the gun out, you have to shoot somebody. But I don't want to shoot anybody unless I have to. So if I can, you know, get the point across just by brandishing it, and what the fuck, you know. I think in Texas you're allowed to brandish, but Florida not so much, not yet anyway. Although I think it's I believe, well, they might have changed the rules here. I don't know. I know they've changed a lot of things in the last several years, because there was some woman, she was getting ready to get robbed and she brandished her gun to stop the robbery. And of course the cop seen it. You know, he didn't see the robber, but he saw her with the gun, so he arrested her. Well, she took it to court and fought it, and I believe she won. But, you know, it's fucking ridiculous. You know, your life's in danger or somebody's doing you wrong. As far as I'm concerned, you got the right to shoot them. You know, your rights end at the fucking beginning of my house or the beginning of my property. So whatever rights you thought you had, the only right you really got, is the right to fucking die. That's the way I see it. But that's me, like I said. And I've had cops, you know, good cops that I know. There's the cop that used to live down the street. He says, you know, you got to do it. You got to do it. We don't care. You know, just make sure you kill them. Because if you don't kill them, then you're going to have problems. He says, with a 45, they're going to die. Double tap, one in the head, one in the chest. They're definitely fucked. They're going to die. You know. So, you know. But, that's true, Gerald. Better tried by 12 than carried by 6. And that's kind of really the way, I mean, it would suck if you went to jail after defending yourself, and I know it has happened before. I say here in Florida, it's not really a problem. You got to be really stupid to get busted in self-defense here, you know. So there's some things you can't do. You can't shoot a man in the back because it's not self-defense. Even if he just knifed your wife, you know, stole all your shit, by the time you get your gun, he's running away, you can't kill him. Well, I'd probably do it anyway because, you know, fuck you. You're not getting away with it, you know. But legally, no, you can't. If he's facing you, you got a good chance, almost 100% self-defense, even if he doesn't have a weapon. And of course, if he doesn't have one, you furnish him with one. You know what I mean? And I have one of them. That's true, Algernon. It's bullshit because I don't understand why they have rights. Like I said, the only right I see, you break into my house, you have one right. And that's the right to fucking die by my fucking bullet. And you will. Because I'm not going to fuck around with you. You know. I don't care how big you are, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're armed or not armed, you're going to die. Plain and simple, you know. Make an example out of it. Bernard says, sure not here, Jim, although I did get subpoenaed last year. I detained him, then called for backup. Yeah, you're better off just to shoot him, you know. I mean, if you have, you know, we have the, stand your ground law here. So it's, you got to be really stupid to get popped for, you know, taking out a bad guy. I mean, it's happened, you know. Like I said, there was that one guy up in, I think it was in Gainesville a couple of years ago. I don't know what exactly transpired, but the shooter, who was technically in the right, took a few shots at the guy while he was trying to drive away in his Jeep. He hit one of them, he didn't kill him, but he wound up getting, you know, like 40 years in prison because you're not allowed to shoot into a vehicle. What the hell difference does it make? As long as you hit your intended target, well, who the fuck cares? You know, I don't fucking get it. Like I said, I mean, if it were up to me, the laws would be very simple. If you try and hurt me, if you try and steal from me, I get to kill you, no questions asked. Same if you do that to my family, your family member. You threaten me or my family, I kill you, problem solved. You know. I mean, fortunately, we don't really have that problem around here that I'm aware of. I don't think murders are very rare in Sebring. Usually drug related. But, you know, I don't know why the fuck. That's what I'm saying. You know, the government, as it was before Trump, seemed to be on the criminal side. Well, we got to let the criminal get away because, you know, we need crime. I always felt that way anyway because, I mean, if there was no crime, you wouldn't need cops. You know, and the cops, they have to have a job, so they got to make sure. It's like I said, they want to make sure that there's enough crime to keep them busy, to, you know, job security. I'm not bad-mouthing cops here. I'm just saying that if they really wanted to stop crime, we can all be our own cops, like in the Old West. You know, there was one sheriff and one deputy in every town practically. And when you were on the outskirts of town and you had to defend your ranch or your wife or your kids, you shot the fucker. You went and got the sheriff, told him what happened. They drug the body off to the undertaker and life went on. You know, the way it should be. But now I said the more civilized we get, seems like the dumber we get. Nope, I do not. If I do, it's going to be down the road a ways. I don't have time or the patience for it right now. Gerard says, I'm getting blind in my old age, so I have a blunderbuss. Hey, one of them things the pilgrims have used to use? I don't know. I've heard of them. I've never actually seen one. Well, you know, 12 gauge will do the job too. The problem with a 12 gauge is if you kill somebody in your house for that, you got a fucking mess to clean up because the cops don't clean up your mess. They're not responsible for that. I always thought they were until I found out differently. You got to clean up the mess you make. Well, fuck that. You got brains and guts and everything else all over your fucking walls and floor. That's got to be a bitch to clean up. I wouldn't want to do it, you know. So, you know, I think I would definitely pass on. That's why I don't have a shotgun. I probably should get one though. They are handy, you know. Maybe for crowd control. You know, 112 gauge equals about what, 6 people? You can take out with 112 gauge. Yeah, with no choke on it. Yeah, we're still here, Frank. Hey, Derek Alexander, how you doing, Derek? Good to see you. Hey, Big Jim and everyone, counties don't make money on criminals. They make money on tickets, so the bosses wouldn't care if there was no crime. I would almost believe that, but I don't. I mean, I do realize that they're in it for the money. That's why speeding tickets and parking tickets and other stupid shit happens. But I think ultimately, though, they still, I mean, it depends. You talk to the average cop. I mean, I've known a lot of cops over the years, and I mean, unless they're lying to me, they're saying, we kind of wish you just would kill them so we don't have to deal with them. They want to kill them, but they're really not allowed to. We could kill them, and it's not quite as much of a problem in most cases. But their hands are tied, and I think most of them would rather we take care of the problem. Remember, originally they were peace officers. Now they're police officers. There's a difference. Peace officers were trying to keep the peace. They didn't really get involved in all the bullshit unless they had to. Like I said, in the Old West, the sheriff was a peace officer. He didn't do much shooting if he didn't have to. He let everybody else do the shooting for him. He was like the referee. All right, who drew first? He did. Okay, he's dead. No problem. Get the Undertaker. Everybody went about their business. If you were the one that drew first and you killed the other guy, then you're going to be facing the hanging rope in a couple of weeks. But it was really simple. I mean, why did we get away from that? I don't get it. So, like I said, I firmly believe that, well, maybe not the cops, but the government or the system in general thrives on crime. Remember, they can't make laws if nobody's breaking them. And of course, laws bring in money. And the whole penal system is all about making money. You ever notice you always get a fine along with the jail time? Why don't they put a fine on you? And how are you going to pay it if you're sitting in jail anyway? Frank said, I lost my wrench. Oh, did you now? Hold on a second. Might be able to give it back to you. Let's see, now that's the wrong one. Oops. Damn it. Add the moderator. Standard moderator. And save. Okay, next time you put a chat in, you should have your wrench back. Problem solved. There you go. Found your wrench. So I don't know. That's the way I feel about it. Am I right? I don't know. But it seems to me like if the people in charge are really for the innocent people, law abiding, then the criminals wouldn't be getting away with the crap that they're getting away with, And like I said, I mean, hey, Raymond Anthony, how you doing? Good to see you here. It would seem to me, I mean, if I were the president, okay, let's say I'm like Trump. I become president before I got assassinated. I'd be up on TV saying, look, the Second Amendment is exactly what it means. Everybody can have a gun now. There will be no rules against it. I don't care if you're a criminal, whether you're a nutcase, you can have a gun. Now, people are saying, oh, you are fucking insane? Well, not really, because the criminals will be taken out quickly. The nutcases will probably be taken out quickly. And then the law-abiding will be the only one left with the guns. And that was the way the Second Amendment was originally structured. Everyone could own a gun. In the 1920s, you could buy a Thompson machine gun. They were $15, which was a lot of money back then. But you could be a 10-year-old kid. If you had the $15, you could walk in the gun store and come out with a Tommy gun. Full auto. What happened? I mean, obviously 10-year-olds weren't buying guns, but they could have. Everybody was allowed to own a gun, even criminals. When you went to jail, they took away your gun. When you served your time and you got out, they gave you your gun back because it's your right. So I would say everybody has the right to have a gun. And now you also have the right to use it. If somebody tries to hurt you or steal from you, you get to kill them. And I would actually endorse you killing them. Don't wound them. Don't scare them. Just fucking kill them. And you'll see the crime rate drop to near zero overnight. Now, unfortunately, no president, not even Trump, has had the balls to say and do that. But that's what should happen. You know, in the Old West, everything you saw on TV, you know, the Westerns and stuff, all basically a lie. They did that for entertainment, you know. Every time you turned on a Western, there's all kinds of shoot 'em ups and all kinds of shit. But in the real West, shootings were almost unheard of. I mean, there were a few outlaws, but Jesse James killed 2 men in his entire life. 2. Today they do that in one day. You know, maybe an hour. Because everybody had guns back then. So unless you were fucking suicidal, you didn't go around trying to fucking shoot people because they shot back. You know? So the Wild West was actually not that wild. It was actually more civilized than it is today. Like I said, if you stole a man's horse, you were hung the next week. If you stole cattle, you were hung the next week. If you killed somebody, you were hung the next week. They didn't wait 20 years to fucking kill you. They wanted to get it done with now so that it had some sort of effect. How many people were hung back in the day? Not as many as you'd think. Because they knew where they stood. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. We need to go back to that. A bunch of you guys just got resubs. Oh, okay, that's cool. Thanks. I haven't had any problems with that, with losing subs on anybody, or really even anybody losing subs to me. Well, one every now and then, and I eventually get it back. I always thought that was, you know, YouTube's stupidity. Algernon says, when I was a kid, kids drove to school with a shot. Yeah, I remember that. A shotgun, 22, and a deer rifle in their pickup back glass. Yeah, there's no fucking rifle racks. When I was in school, it was that way. There were kids that went to school with guns, and nobody. They said kids wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't shoot anybody because that would be stupid, and you throw your life away. What's going on today? Well, keep in mind, there's 2 things that are common with school shooters today. One, they're on some sort of a brain pill, you know, antidepressant. And a lot of them are, you know, either LGBTQ or something. They're gay, you know. They're pissed off with the world. They're pissed off with themselves. They just don't fucking care. And we should take them out quickly. And that will solve that problem. You know, Israel had the same problem with shooting. Well, it wasn't that case of doing it. It was like Hamas. They go in and, you know, shoot up the schools. Well, Israel got smart. So after the second time, that's, you know what? We're arming everybody. So all the teachers carried guns after that. So the next time some asshole walked in, he got plugged right then and there. And they quit doing it because it wasn't easy pickings anymore. We need to do the same thing. Bernard says, hey, Frank, thanks for subbing. Till recently, I didn't even know I had a channel. Need my grandson to come spend the weekend and put some content on. There you go. I didn't know you had. Do you have a channel? My sub? I don't even know. Let me check. I don't know if I'm subbed to you or not. Now that you mention it. Go to channel. Come on. This laptop is so slow. Of course, it's old. It'll get there someday. No, I'm subbed to you. Okay. I'm pretty much subbed to everybody I know. That's a good thing. Tom says, when I was a kid, we were not allowed to drive to school. I started driving to school when I was 15. And because I couldn't do it early that because somebody would have turned me in. But I didn't like taking the bus. The bus sucked. And I used to drive my dad's station wagon. He had a Gran Torino wagon. I took that back and forth to school. He didn't care, you know. I said I had a restricted license. I wasn't supposed to drive, you know, without an adult in the car, but I did anyway. Never got caught for it. Gerald said, Jim, did you cleanse my rant? Well, okay, if you did, just curious. What rant was that? Did I miss it? Algernon says, might give someone a bloody nose, but nobody wanted to. Yeah, that's true. And we had regular fights, you know. I had a couple kids pull a knife on me once, like a little tiny knife. This black kid come up to me, he says, give me a quarter. Let me hold a quarter. He had this little fucking penknife, and I took it away from him. And I put it up to his neck, and I knew you couldn't kill anybody with it because it was a joke. Scared that fucking little black kid to death, though, man. I said, how about I fucking hold your fucking head? And then all of a sudden they get you, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to bother you. So yeah, fuck you, get out of here. I kept the knife, and that was the end of that. Chuck says, I agree with you, Jim. Too many attorneys and waiting. Ah, absolutely. Derek says, no, Frank, I still have 53. Okay. Hey, there's Tom on horseback. There you go. I would have rode a horse to school if I'd had access to one. I mean, I liked horse riding at the time. After I got out of school, I wasn't married. I was divorced after that, but I was 28, 29 years old. And the secretary where I worked, she liked riding horses. So twice a week we would go together. We weren't dating or anything. But we'd go together to go rent a horse for an hour before we went to work. It was fun to do, man. You know, just go ride the trails. And I can't ride a horse anymore because I can't get up on one for one. You know, I kind of miss it because I used to like riding a horse. I'll do it myself. Come on, man. That's funny. Well, I used to walk to school when I was in grade school. We were only about a little over a mile from the school. And yes, I did walk uphill in the snow. I didn't walk uphill both ways, though. I only walked one way up, and the other way was down. Tom says, I got dirty laundry, too. Yeah, she got a washer dryer, though. I have to wash mine in the sink. I got a dryer, but Deb took the fucking washer with her. So, you know. Unbelievable. I think we were in the same class, Tom. Me too, uphill both ways. Yeah, barefoot in the snow. I never went barefoot either. Like I said, in kindergarten, I used to walk, you know, by myself. My mother, the way our house was, there was a window that faced that way. And that was the way I had to go to school. And it was like 3 or 4 blocks and then up the hill. And the school was at the top of the hill. And she would watch me until she couldn't see me anymore. But it was safe back in the day, you know. I mean, nobody kidnapped kids or any of that weird shit that they do nowadays. But, you know, and of course, when it's time to come home, she'd be waiting at the window, waiting for me to, you know, until she could see me to come home. It's funny because I actually had a girlfriend in kindergarten, all right? I mean, you know, we weren't doing anything. A little Jewish girl. Her name was Patty Berger. I kid you not. Patricia Berger, but they called her Patty Berger. You think of a hamburger, you know, but she's a cute little redhead. And she was Jewish. And I didn't know what Jewish was back then. My mother knew that. Anyway, she used to kiss me every morning, you know, when we were going to school. Because we'd walk together, you know. And my mother would just never let up. She said, I saw you kissing a girl. Yeah, so. You know, it was kind of weird, but, yeah, it's things that you remember, you know. That was my very first girlfriend, though. We were together the whole year of kindergarten, and then I think she moved away after that. But It was kind of cool. That was the only time I seen her. Never seen her off school. You know, we just used to walk back and forth to school together, and I don't know. She thought I was her boyfriend. I thought she was my girlfriend. Weird. Ah. Thomas says, "Hey Tom, you have to walk to the laundry, Matt, because your wife told you to." No, he's got a washer and dryer, man, right there in the house. And Debbie's not that mean anyway. So, I mean, those are different times. Like I said, I got hit by a car in the first grade. I was walking down the same road. It was winter out, snow on the ground. And the True Loves, I kid you not, that was their name, True Love, their last name. The son, he was driving, and he got in the car, he fired it up. I knew the car was running because you could see the exhaust coming out, the mist. I thought he saw me. He didn't. And I'm walking, minding my own business, and he clipped me with the car. And he had a big Impala, Chevy Impala. And I got thrown like almost 12 foot. It damaged my knees. Not critically. I mean, I didn't have to get an operation or anything, but it damaged something in my knees where I really couldn't run after that. Not full out run anyway. And my dad sued him over it. I think he got something like $6,000, which was a lot of money back then. But then he put it in the stock market and lost it all. So, of course, like I said, unfortunately, that was a permanent problem. They couldn't fix it back then. It was something to do with the cartilage in my knees. And I know growing up, my legs always hurt, My dad used to massage my legs because he'd like literally throw his weight into it. I mean, it hurt, but it felt good. And then I kind of outgrew it after I turned about 15, 16 years old. So I got lucky, but Algernon says one kid had to drive their wheat truck to school because the dad took the pickup and the mom took the car, occasionally leaving the boy doing chores and missed the bus, so he had to drive the truck. Hell, back in the day, that was probably common. Tom Grass said, "Jim, I just did a search for cheap price washing machine in Sebring. A Kenmore top loader for really where? I'll go down and buy that motherfucker tomorrow, man. Is it private or is it a place? I can afford that because I was hoping I'd get something for around $50 anyway. And I don't give a shit what brand it is. I mean, I'm not going to get a front loader, obviously, but I don't want a front loader. And I don't care if it's even 10 or 20 years old, as long as it still works. Frank said, post a link for me. Yeah, if you would, post a link. Thanks. Yeah, I haven't really been trying real hard. I kind of put the word I was looking for one. And there's a few people looking for me. What does that mean? I'll actually find one? Who the hell knows? But, yeah. I mean, back in the day, I'd get them for $40-$50 all day long, And usually they were in pretty decent shape, but like I said, at this point I don't care as long as it does the job, Of course, I might have to throw them some extra money to deliver it because I can't get it because the fucking truck ain't running. If the truck was running, I'd just go pick it up, but that ain't gonna happen. Restore has them occasionally. Yeah, well, that's what I said. The people at New Hope were looking for one for me because I told them, I said, if you got one for $50, I'll buy it, and they can deliver it. But I said, I just don't have a way to pick it up, unfortunately. Oh, you sent me an email link. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I'll check that out later. Yeah, shit. I'll call them tomorrow and I'll see about getting it, man. I mean, what the hell? I said, it's not a big thing. But it would be nice because, I mean, I'm not really looking forward to washing shit in the sink. You know what I'm saying? Throw everything in the washer, throw in the detergent, push the button, done, throw it in the dryer, push the button, and there you go, you know. That's the way I like to do things because, you know, I'm getting fucking lazy in my old age. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys do for me, you know, because, I mean, you really, sometimes y'all go out of your way to help me out. That's really, it's thoughtful, man. I appreciate that. Um, but, you know, I've gone through life like that. Like, I've done so many things for so many people. And I've always believed, and it's really come out that way, that you get out of life what you put into it. I've helped people, you know, lots of different ways. Not so much with money because I don't really like giving out money, but I don't have it to give out anymore. But, you know, I was doing things, favors here and there, doing something nice for somebody. And it always comes back to me, you know. So I figure that's just karma doing its thing. Any homeless women there, Jim? Washboard and a trip to the river. There's a lake about 1,000 yards that way, you know. I don't know if the guy'd let me use it. I don't know if there's any homeless people here. I'm sure there are, but, you know, probably wouldn't trust them too much. Yeah, absolutely, you know. And it really is true. And it's something I always try to talk to my wife about because I mean, she gives in a way, but, you know, she gets a little mad if it doesn't return to her. Like, she doesn't like doing a lot of things because I don't like having to do everything for everybody. And look, what you do for people will come back to you, you know. And I don't really think she believes that, which is unfortunate because I've always believed that. And it's always come out good. I mean, you know, I've never really had any severe issues that I couldn't deal with because something always happened where, you know, if I need money, it came up somehow. Or if I needed help with something, it came up some. I mean, when I'm really in need, you know, not just wishful shit, but people really gone out of their way to help me over the years, and I don't need it very often, but I always appreciate it, and I just figure that's just, you know, what goes around comes around. I do for you, and somebody does for me, you know. I think that's the best way to live. Will it get me into heaven? Probably not, but, you know, I still do what I do because I believe in it. What else is there? It is what it is, you know. And I do unfortunately run into people that are very selfish and self-serving, and they always seem to have problems, you know. And it's like, well, the problem is your attitude, and you try and explain it to them, they're like, "Fuck you! I know what I'm doing." All right, well, you know, fuck you. It's your life. You run it the way you want. I don't hear you crying though when it fucking turns to shit because you brought it on yourself, you know. And unfortunately, not enough people really realize that. My dad was, you know, he was like me in that respect. He would do a lot of things for you, and things always came back to help him out, you know. And he did a lot of shit for me. I used to borrow money off him all the time, you know. When I got in trouble with the law, I borrowed $10,000 off him. I paid him back. It took over a year to do it, you know. But, you know, I really appreciated what he did for me, and of course I paid him back, you know. Now my daughter, unfortunately, she rented his house after she got married, and her husband, the rent was cheap and they didn't want to pay it, and they quit paying rent, and he was getting mad, and I said, just throw them out. I can't throw them out, they're my grandkids. They don't fucking pay you, throw their fucking asses out, you know. I even called my daughter, I said, what the hell's wrong with you? Your grandfather's bent over backwards to fucking make your life easy, and this is how you treat him? You don't want to pay your rent? Your fucking husband has 3 brand new vehicles worth over $100,000, and you can't pay $600 a month rent? What the fuck is wrong with you, you know? You're lucky it's not my house. You'd be out in the fucking street tomorrow. I can't believe you do that, Dad. Well, I'll fucking believe it, you know. I said, unfortunately, your grandfather's too nice to talk you out. But if he gives me the authority, guess what? You're going to be out in the street, you know. So they eventually left because, you know, I think he might have said something to him eventually, but he was kind of bashful and that shit, and afraid to throw him out or say, you know, pay me or get out. He was a little too good in that respect. Where me, I'm a nice guy till you piss me off. You piss me off, all bets are off after that, you know. But I'll do what I can for you, just don't screw me over. Because if you do, it's only going to happen once. Always lived that way, and it works well for me. I don't know. So what else is going on here? Jesus Christ, it's turned into a fucking... I wish I had more train shit to talk about. So what do you guys think about this? If anybody came in late, let me go back over this. I got this from Cousin Vinny. This is called the shop card. Just a piece of paper. Well, it's cardstock. They print their stuff on there, and he's doing scale models now. So he put his channel name on there, and you can see his emails and something there about on the bottom. And all the scale modelers have these. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had one too? Oops, except it's upside down. So I made one. It's pretty cool. Got my email on the top, my logo on the top right. William County Railroad version 2.5, and a nice little train scene there. And it's on cardstock. I may make a bunch of them and start sending them out with things that, you know, I do correspondence for everybody, or if you buy something, you'll get one of those along, maybe with a sticker. So that'd be fun to do, and I'd like to see it kind of get commonplace within our group, you know. I think we should all do it. I mean, look, the model car guys can do it. Why can't we, right? I think it'd be fun to do. And basically, what you got to do is, most of you guys have logos. So if you have a logo, you can fix it on there and put your channel name on there and your email or whatever you want to put on there, really, and a nice background picture, and you're good to go, you know. I think it's going to catch on. I hope, anyway. You guys still screw around with the subscribers? You can look up all your subscribers on your YouTube page. I mean, I've got a list. I got 490 subs, I think, that I'm sub to. And it's got all their names on there. It's a pain in the ass. Look, they're not alphabetized. Should be. But that's how I can at least check and see who's subscribed to me anyway. Tom Grass says, guys, on YouTube it only shows who is subscribed to your channel that has public subscription turned on. Many do not have this feature on, so when they subscribe to you, you're never notified. That's true. I mean, I get notified of a new sub, but unfortunately, they don't notify you when they stop subbing you. So you'll see it on your number, and that's it. Actually, I picked up a couple. I'm at 482. I was at 480 a few days ago, and I dropped down to 479. Now it's at 482. It changes every fucking day. And Bernard wants to know, Tom, how that new motor shield is working out for you. Was it the 8874? Well, that's right. You're messing around with that DCC plus EX or whatever it is. You haven't messed with that in a while, have you? So, turn that back off. I got some Arduino things I got to mess with too to get some of the stuff done, but eventually I'm going to get back to where I was, you know. It's just kind of at a crossroads right now where I'm, you know, but I'll get back into it and I'll jump back into, you know, getting back in the layout and everything. It's just a matter of time. Tom Grace says, Jim, I'm now holding at 475. Oh, you're not too far behind me. I wouldn't be surprised if you jump ahead of me, actually. Tom says it works great. Okay, that's cool. The motor shield, apparently. He said, yep, that's the one. So, yeah, I just got to get my thoughts together and get some things dealt with, you know. They said once I get the washer and I get some dish towels, some bro, I should really be good to go in the house as far as necessities go. I can start concentrating on other things. I could maybe spend more time out here and, get some shit done. Frank says, Jim, you should start one of those hobo channels and come visit us all. I'm not a hobo, man, and I don't really like doing that. I mean, back in the day, I used to drive. I used to love driving. I would travel wherever. I've seen this whole half of the United States at one time or another back in the day, but I'm at the point where, I can't drive straight through anymore. I used to run 24, 30 hours straight, no problem. I'd be lucky I could drive 5 now, And I'd have to find a motel and, it is what it is. Rod says, every time I went to order, they were out of stock. The 8874s. Did you say, Tom, that they were out of stock for a while or something was going on with that? I thought you brought something about it. I don't remember. So, but I still like having a home. That's why I drove truck local, semis before the CDLs came out. But I never did over the road because I didn't want to be away from home for any length of time. The whole idea of living on the road, fuck that. Even though at the time I could have brought my wife with me, my first one, before. Well, not really because we'd had kids, but I could have brought them too, I guess. But that would have been crazy. So I just wanted to have a home base, and I still want that, But those days are behind me now, I guess, the traveling days. My sister would love for me to drive up to Indiana and see her, and same with my brother. And I wish I could do it, but I don't have the money for one. All right, Frank, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you next time. I don't have the money, and, well, I guess that's really all it amounts. I don't have the money. Yeah. That's a long run. That's, 1,300 miles. It'd take me 3 days to get there. And, well, I'd love to do it, but I just don't see it happening, And, back in the day, I did most of my traveling alone, I mean, when I was married to my first wife, we traveled a lot, but after I got divorced, I traveled myself. I was alone most of the time, or I didn't want to bring anybody with me. Even I was with Debbie for a while. I was with Stacy. I was with Sabrina. I mean, had my, share of women, but I just kind of took off on my own, and, I'll be back in a week or two, and I'll see you then, And they were okay with it, so, I just drove and did my thing. Is it after the stroke, though? I think that pretty much, that put a damper on any travel, Before that, I would go up to North Carolina and see my youngest son, the transgendered one. That was before he was transgendered. And, a 12-hour run, 600 miles away, and 700 somewhere around there. Wasn't bad, but there you go, just me and Led Zeppelin. Now, I had my share of music in there too, so. And I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't have a problem driving alone like that, And it was nice because I could do whatever I wanted, driving-wise. I drove fast. The best time I ever made, I was in the Fiero. And I was averaging 140 most of the trip. I made it from Naples, Florida to Warsaw, Indiana in just over 9 hours. I drove straight through, only stopping for gas. And, I had fun. It was a blast, man. I remember going through Atlanta, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in with a pack of cars. There was about 30 of us. We're all doing 130 or better. Looked like a NASCAR race. I mean, we're literally right off each other's bumpers and shit. It was 6 or 8 lanes of road there. Just fucking flying through downtown Atlanta on I-75. I mean, thank God there were no cops, because they'd have probably pulled us all over, all went to jail. But, I just didn't care, man. I mean, everybody else was doing it. I'm going to do it too. I had fun. Yeah, it was dangerous. So what? Yeah, getting out of bed in the morning is dangerous. You get down to it. I never had any problems when I was driving. I was never afraid of anything. I'm afraid of heights, but I've driven through the mountains, especially at night. That's a little unnerving, but it didn't really bother me because I felt safe in the car, Well, it does when you have a 5-speed in the V6. See, the thing is, all the V6 Fieros came with a 4-speed. None of them came with a 5. Mine originally had the 4-cylinder in it with a 5-speed. So when I put the 2.8 in front of the 5-speed, I got a lot more mileage. The car would do 145 almost right to the dot, man. And that car fucking flew. It was dangerous, though, because it was still white in the front, and it wanted to lift sometimes. And I thought, I had to be careful. There's a lot of crosswind. I couldn't run that fast. I mean, it would lift up the front end. So what it needed was a wing in the front, but there was no way to put one on without it interfering with the headlights. That's why I never put one on the front. But that's what it would have needed, Because I had ground effects and all that, but I didn't have that wing on the front. I had a wing on the back. Held the back down. Yeah, but it would do 145 because I had that extra gear. With a 4-speed, it'd do about 130 if you were lucky. But like I said, I had one of the few 5-speed V6s that, they didn't make them that way. I put the V6 in instead and took the 4 out. So yeah. And that was, what year was that? That was an 1987 Fiero. And like I said, I got it. It was a junker when I bought it. Paid $200 for it. And I put a lot of work into it. I put almost $5,000 in it to make it a beautiful car. My thought was to resell it. At that time when I first got it, those things were selling like hotcakes. They were getting anywhere from $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 for that model, And I'm thinking that's a good project car, but of course it took me a year to get it all put together and stuff. By the time I got it finished, they fell out of favor. I had it up for sale. I had it down to $1,200. Beautiful car. They said beautiful paint job, clean interior, everything worked in it, air conditioning, all that. Couldn't get $1,200 for it. So I said, well, fuck it then. I'll just keep the motherfucker. And I drove it till I literally drove it on the ground. I had a few problems with it. Had a bad axle in the back. I never replaced. So it used to vibrate a little bit at higher speeds. I broke the 5th gear shift cable. I had to do a countrywide search. I think I bought the last one in existence. And it cost me $130 for a fucking cable. It was about 3 foot long. But I needed it. And then the motor mount went bad. I couldn't find a motor mount for it, even at junkyards. They were all blown out, so I wound up bringing something. And the biggest problem I had was because it had the 5-speed in there. It had a hydraulic clutch assembly. And the way they mounted the slave cylinder, there was so much heat by it, it would wear them out real quick, especially with the heat of the motor, especially with the V6. A lot more heat under there. And it kept burning out the slave cylinder. So I finally got fed up and said, I'm going to put a cable in there. So I actually went to the junkyard, found a golf cart, took the brake cable off, which was real thick and long, and rigged up a cable to the clutch. It was a tough clutch to push in, but I did that until I fucking traded it in. Gerald says EX Motor Shield 8874, 56 in stock right now. There you go. Derek said I had a 7340 Dodge Dart and it did 165 before the front lifted, but putting a spoiler up front kept the front on the ground, but it still wouldn't break 165. That's pretty fucking fast for a 70 though, you know. I know 340 was a hell of a motor, but you know, still, of course, wind resistance too, but still, that's not bad, 165. There weren't too damn many cars that could do that. So, like I said, well, that was the problem I had with the Corvair. The Corvair would do about 120, you know. And it was a 66, it was a two-door. I actually bought for my first wife. And she was pregnant with our second daughter. And I used to take advantage of the whole pregnancy thing because it always happened late at night. Get in the car, we're going. And I took her car. And I literally did 120 from my house to the hospital. Blue red lights and everything. I had a blast, you know. So when I got to the hospital, I could smell something burning. So they were putting her, you know, getting her into the hospital. So I opened up the hood, trunk as it were, and I could smell shit burn. I pulled out the dipstick tube, and I could actually see it glowing inside the motor. Fucking inside the motor was on fire. It went out eventually. It didn't do any damage, but the car was never really right after that. You know, I think, well, son of a bitch, I done blew up a fucking Corvair motor. But the first time I had a problem with it, I was coming from Fort Myers, and there was a small bridge you had. Well, it wasn't small, it was a big bridge. And I was doing about 110. As soon as I got near the top of the bridge, the front end come. I mean, the wheels and everything, right off the fucking ground. I about shit myself. You know. Thank God I didn't lose control of the car, but it finally went back down because it got slowed real quick, you know. And after that, I went home. I threw a bunch of cinder blocks in the trunk up front. And that solved that problem. Because of the way the car was designed, the front end was angled inward, you know, from the top to the bottom. Instead of being outward, it was inward, and it actually acted as an air dam to push the car up. So I didn't really know about wings at the time, or I could have put a wing up front, because that wouldn't have been an issue. It would have looked weird, probably. But the cinder blocks did enough. I think I had 4 cinder blocks in there, 20 pounds each, so 24, 80 fucking pounds in the front. It didn't lift anymore. That's how I fixed that problem. The Fiero was kind of the same problem because it had rear engine, you know, and of course in the Corvair the tank was at least up front, you know, in the firewall. But in the Fiero, the tank was in the center console. It's called the baby coffin because that's what it looked like. The tank was about this wide and about 3 foot long, and it didn't hold. It held like 14 gallons. But it was right up underneath the center console. And I'm thinking, boy, if you got T-boned and that thing ruptured, you're fucked. You're probably fucked anyway, but, you know, the plastic car. But, so you didn't really see too many of them cars wrecked. It was very unusual to see one wrecked. Because you tried to avoid getting in a wreck. Because you'd die, you know. Gerald said Duster 340 was rated at 160 plus. There you go. I wasn't aware of that. I knew they were quick, but I didn't know how quick. Dave Nish says, yes, 340 was a hell of an engine. Had 271 Demons with them. All that. Yeah, I bet they did. I knew they were quick, but I never really knew how quick. They never drove one. Not really. And we got Newer Ham Radio Elmer. Hey, Newer. How you doing, man? Good to see you here. A-Body is the best. There you go. Derek says it ran 13.8 in the quarter before I did some motor work and got it to run 12.5s after. That's pretty quick, man. It's not bad at all. You know. Most cars are running, what, 16? Most of mine were running in the 13s, you know. And like I said, I never really did any professional racing with them, or semi-professional for that matter. You know, did the, they call them, the N-word drags, or N-word nationals, that's what they're called. Um, some back road somewhere. But we never was able to time the cars. You either won or you didn't, you know. There was an abandoned airstrip that we used to go running out Golden Gate. And the cops wouldn't bother you either unless somebody got hurt, which the whole time I did it, nobody got hurt. But I think after that, somebody did. They wrecked the car and they weren't killed or anything, but they got hurt. Till they finally put up a drag strip out in Immokalee. As far as I know, it's still there. And it's, if you want to run your street car, you can. They got rules. You got to wear a helmet and have seat belts. But I've never run there. I thought about bringing the BMW there because my Beamer was pretty quick. Once again, I had the 4-banger in it, or 6-banger rather. And I don't remember what size motor there was. It was 2-liter or 3. I don't remember, but it had an automatic transmission behind it. Well, I bought another one because the reverse went out in it. So I bought a junker with a 5-speed. I put the 5-speed in there, and it was faster because the gear ratio was different. It wasn't quite as quick as the automatic, but at a higher top end. And I would have done well in the quarter mile. I should have changed the rear end too, because I had the whole car, but it was so rusty I couldn't get any of the bolts loose. So I said, fuck it, I'll just leave the other rear end in there. And like I said, I noticed real quick that it was much faster. It just lost some of its, off the line speed. So I had fun with that car though. Let's see. Dart was 3,000 pounds, and I got mine down to 3,585 pounds, and Dusters were about 3,400 pounds. 3685, not 33565 pounds mistyped. Okay. I was going to say that doesn't work out too well. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying, back in the day, but cars today it's a whole different beast now. You said you're kind of stuck with, electronics, and they could be messed with. The guy I was working with at the golf course, he bought a Mustang. It was a GT. It was fairly new. I think it was a 2020 maybe. No, could have been that new. It was a 2010 maybe, or 2009. I don't remember, but it was a beautiful car, But he put a shitload of, he put like 20,000 into it. Had to send it down to Miami to have it retuned and programmed. That fucking car was wicked fast, man. And like I said, he didn't really do much to the engine. It was already there. You just had to, change the numbers, and it did what he wanted it to do. Well, there really isn't, other than the nameplate and probably some minor cosmetic shit. But basically the same car that I remember anyway. My neighbor in the back, he had a Duster. I think he bought the stripes for it to make it a Demon, because I think that was the only real difference. The Demon had stripes and the Duster did, I think. I don't remember. It's a long time ago, but it had 340 in it. But he had the automatic in his, and he was in Vietnam. He lost a leg, but he loved that car, man. He drove it everywhere. It was pretty quick. Duster and Dart, not Demon. No, I could be. Like I said, I don't remember. That's a long time ago, man. I find my car memory or car knowledge over the years has decreased a little bit. Plus, I was never really into Mopar anyway. I was a Pontiac guy. I love Pontiacs, Had a few Chevys, had Oldsmobiles, Buicks, but the Pontiac was always my go-to car. So, now it's Ford. I guess things change over time. What you doing over there, Pogo? Anyway, it's almost 9:30. I think we're going to wrap it up in 8 minutes. As always, we talked about damn near everything. For all you married guys, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Don't forget your wives or sweethearts, unless you want to go in the doghouse. For some of us, I guess it doesn't really make a difference anymore, but Dave Nish says front clip on the Dart, Demon, and taillight panels were different. Dart Demon a little heavier than the Dusters. Okay. He must have been a Mopar guy. And like I said, I was never really into Mopar, but so I had limited knowledge of them, you know. Both had side body stripes. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. And Dave says I am. Okay. I know there's guys that are really into it. You know, like I said, I drove a few. I had a friend that had a 69 Roadrunner and had a 440 in it, but just a 4-barrel on there, but I had a 4-speed. That car was fucking quick, you know. He didn't know how to drive it though, and it was such a waste. Mopar, no car. Gerald said Jim, Dusters, and Demons were based. That's what I thought. Like I said, it's been a while. You're going back, you know, what, 40 years? 30 years, somewhere around it. Or more. I don't know. So like I said, my thing, like I said, my thing was GMs, but the only Dodge I ever owned was a Dodge van. I had Tradesman 100, that yellow one, the Tradesman 100. That's the only Dodge I ever owned of anything, you know. I did Fords, had Chevys, had Buicks, Olds, Cadillacs, you know. Had everything but, you know. And when I was a kid up north, the True Loves, remember I was talking about them, the son and the dad, they bought a, I can't remember what the hell it was now. It was a Dodge. It might have been a Challenger maybe. I don't remember, but back in the 60s, and that's when they had the kit cars. And you can order the car, get everything you wanted the way you wanted it, and it came on a semi-trailer in crates. And it took them about a year to put this car together. But it was beautiful, man. I mean, but you had to have welding experience and everything. But literally, you got the car in pieces, you know. Nothing was assembled. Not even the engine. But you could choose everything you wanted. I think back then it was like $4,000 for the unassembled car. And they had all their muscle cars you could buy in kit form. It's a shame they don't do that anymore, you know. That was really cool. Gerald said taillights were much cooler on a 70 Duster. Okay. Not familiar, but I'll take your word for it. So I thought that was the slickest thing they ever did, was to have the kit version of the cars. I mean, you know, because of course I remember, Dad used to buy new Pontiacs. He would order his cars. It'd take 6 weeks to get one. Because you know, when he bought the Bonneville, he had a 67 Bonneville. He wanted the, oh fuck, I don't even remember what engine it had. It now. It was 3 something. He wanted this engine. He wanted this transmission. He wanted the towing package. He wanted power windows. He should have got the air conditioning, but he didn't. But the car was made to order. I mean, the color you wanted outside, the color of the interior, it was all made to order. And they actually built the car for you, you know. And I think at that time it was $3,500 is what he paid for it. They said 1967. And then 6 weeks later, they call him up, come get your car. And you know, they don't even do that anymore. Now you go on a lot, what you see is what you could buy. You know, what a crock of shit that is. Dave says, had one Ford winter beater, one GM Olds 442, 67. The rest all Dodges. There you go. Gerald said a 70 Duster sold for about $3,200. Yeah, they weren't that expensive. Not really. They said, what happened, you know? Cars just went fucking nuts. $45,000 for a car today. And they're garbage. You know? At least they sold real cars back then. Anyway, guys, hate to cut this short, but We're down 926, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'll say thank you for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Don't forget to flip off the signal guy there. He's been working for what, a year and a half now? He ain't ever going to get that fucking thing fixed. All right, guys. Have a good night, man. Thanks again. Here's the outro.